Wanted to
Who's
let
next
me in.
there?
For the
Nazareth.
shock
Yeah,
conversation.
no, Nazareth, you're up next. Sorry.
All right. Who am I and what do I do? Because I don't know. So I stream on YouTube. I also make videos, mostly about information. I do live searches and all whatever anyone asks questions, I'll just hop onto Google and whatever and start searching up, whether that be lore or functions, designs, whatever. I'm also apparently now a 3D modeler, and I'm making ships now for some reason, because that seems to be going really well. Currently using Sketch, and I'll be moving to Blender as soon as I know how to do anything.
Okay. Catastrophic.
Hello. I had to check that I wasn't muted then. It's a habit. I'm Catastrophic, I'm going to say entertainment because everything goes wrong and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So I'm definitely not informative. Twitch streamer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very, very new to the game. Very new. Like just the start of, just started at the end of last year, right before the IAE.
Good.
So...
Your lack of gray hair tells us, don't worry, you're okay.
Give it a year.
Redheads don't go gray. We're okay.
There you go. 10 pound 42.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I used to be a redhead.
This was
10 pound
red.
42.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I mean, I do YouTube. I guess I would say it's entertaining, but the numbers would suggest that maybe it's not that entertaining. But I do performance testing for PC parts for Star Citizen. And yeah, just on YouTube, and streaming is terrifying. So I doubt I'll be doing much of that. So there you go.
Awesome. Okay. Natronics.
Hey, everybody. I'm Nate. I'm the lead guy behind EE Studios. I do Machinima, so Overclocked, Redline, Ava IRL, and I'm also a big supporter of HubNet, which is Zark's thing, and he's also here.
Mm-hmm. We're digging the Ava, the IRL. We just started watching that. Very cool stuff.
Nice, thank you.
Certified Gumbo.
Hello. We are technically a conglomerate. We cover a lot of different things, but I mainly cover Star Citizen. On YouTube, I do not stream. I haven't started streaming yet on Twitch, but we do have a Twitch account, and it will be primarily for gaming. So at some point there will be live streams.
Those folks cover Marvel, all types of cool stuff, but I want to see you out here doing Star Citizen more, dude. You got to be out here more.
Yeah,
right?
we cover nerd-centric content is what we say.
There you go. Jawa, Sparky.
Hey, Griff. Yeah, I'm Jawa Sparky. I am the other half of Fist and Jawa. That's and, not ing. I stream on Twitch, and I do travel guides on YouTube for Star Citizen, and I guess I'm a B-roll pilot / crasher for Fist.
And something tells us that you like cats. So okay.
I don't know how you can tell.
All right. Boss Lady B.
Hello, everyone. I am a transplant from the Elite Dangerous world. I'm on Twitch, so I've gotten into Star Citizen. I love it, and I'm hooked, and it's lovely to meet all of you. And so we are entertainment with information, but I'm still learning. So it's the information of what it's like to be new.
Okay, awesome. Mr. Shelley. Oldest guy here can't find the mute button. There you go.
Yeah,
right,
I just hit the mute button just because I just want to make sure that you don't hear my clickety clacks all the time. Hi, my name is Paul Shelley. I run 2 channels, stream and do YouTube. I do the Astropub on Twitch. I also do the Astropub on YouTube, but I also do the Astro Historian. I guess I'm an informative. I guess the answer to what do I do is yes. Can I do all? I stream the game. I do informative, kind of do lore-centric stuff on my Astro Historian channel. So I've been covering the entire history of Star Citizen lore, which is maddening. You go crazy with the amount of give 3 writers 10 years to write stuff, and you get a lot of stuff to write that you got to go through. Then I also do the Captain's Table podcasts, sort of things, kind of opinion. We bring people together and talk about the game for, every week's different cast and crew. And I also do my own shows and such. So
you're probably the only person that's had about 85% of the people on the screen on your show at some point.
Right. Like a lot of folks here have been on the Captain's Table at one point. So
very cool. Very cool. Mr. Hasgaha.
Hey, I'm not a streamer. I probably am not a YouTuber. I put out a video every few months, but I don't do information. I don't do any of the things you said. I don't know why I'm here.
He's confused.
That's why you're here.
No, I
Who
take
am I?
pictures. And I
That
make
beautiful
cinematic
personality.
videos.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
your content.
Yeah.
I'm not a personality, so I don't normally show my face.
Yeah. Yeah, but let me say from the community, Mr. Hasgaha, we really enjoy your work. We really do. That's why you're here. You are a contributor to the community in a big way. So we really appreciate it.
For a long time, even.
Huge.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Execute.
Okay. Part of the Infrunners. I guess I'm what Paul said. Yes, we kind of do a bit of everything. Paul comes on as well, and Space Tomato. I've had a lot of guests on as well. Algrid's my partner in crime. Algrid, what would you? When Algrid speaks, he can probably do this better than I can. I'm terrible at self promotion, but helping people with their fleets, financial advice, informative, and hopefully we entertain a little bit as hopefully. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Loud Guns.
Yeah, I'm Loud Guns. I'm a YouTuber, I guess. It's mostly guide based type content, sort of aimed at getting new players in, teaching people how to make in-game cash and not put their bank balances at risk with the with the pledge store. That's my main goal.
So the opposite of my stuff, yeah, exactly.
They come to me first and they come to you after. Yeah.
Pops in Space.
Oh, hello everyone. I am Pops in Space. I am one half of the father and son team called New Souls, and we do more entertainment based and specifically based to music, but we are branching out into CIG, which is a big undertaking. So we have some new projects coming up using that, and I'll let my son say the rest when it's his turn.
You're muted.
Griff, I think you're muted.
I was typing. Sorry. Fist 25. I was wondering why you sit there staring at the camera. I'm like, why is he staring at the screen? Talk. Okay.
Dead air.
Hey guys, Fist 25 on the other half of Fisting Java Save the Universe. I do guides on YouTube, informational stuff, and Jawa and I do entertainment streams, and I'm just the YouTube side of the stream. And definitely been on Captain's Table, and that's a heck of a time. So thanks for having me here, Griff.
Glad to have you, buddy. Agnes Letty.
G'day, I'm Agents Letty, org leader of Mongol Squad. We do YouTube content focused on piracy gameplay. So we're entertainment. We also put out tutorials on how to do piracy in the game, and we express a lot of opinions on how we play this game too.
Awesome.
Also, very dope background.
Very cool.
Cheers.
All righty. Proncy.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch streamer mostly. Although I would go to YouTube if they gave me sick pins. That's all they have to do to convince me. Yeah, I like to think that I'm entertainment. My chat would probably disagree. I'd like to think that I'm information, but my chat would probably disagree. And I also do some like esports commentary for Star Citizen as well. So I work a little bit with Atmo Esports, the Crux Cup guys, and yeah, do that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Good. Diablos.
You had to do it when I was sneezing. Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, so I used to do a lot of YouTube, which was doing rotations of planets and stuff. But then when I was doing that, I ended up starting to do cosplay. So I don't really do information. I sit there for 4 to 8 months, make one of those things, then post images and get annoyed by CIG because I forget about cosplayers.
Okay.
2022. Thank you, CIG.
Listen, they still don't have a lore section on the hub either, so I feel the pain.
Down to Earth Astronomy.
Yeah, I am first and foremost I would say informational YouTuber. I do guides and tutorials. Been covering Elite Dangerous for a number of years, and now also in covering Star Citizen more and more. And then I do entertainment live streams like once a week.
Yes. You guys want to get the real deal between the real world and real gaming? Check out Down to Earth Astronomy. Great information there. Zark Media.
Yeah, that's me. Hi guys, I'm Zork Media. I started out making machinima videos and a couple of years ago, and it turned out that I really enjoyed making like a community out of it too. So together with Nate and a couple others, Nate from that's Natronics and a couple others, we are trying to create like a broadcasting network in Star Citizen, a fictional broadcasting network called HubNet. So yeah, go check that out. And yeah, so that's what I do. Machinima, I guess that would be entertainment.
You guys want to check out a really cool machinima? Zark put out a new one. What was the title of it? Banu, what's it called? Banu. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Really, really good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Drop a link in the
Yeah.
drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, Zark, can you drop a link in the chat for them? Yeah.
Legitimately, that was not a machinima. That was a fucking movie. That, excuse me. Sorry for my language. That was that could have been submitted to like an independent film festival, and I think would have done very well.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, right? That was a mini
so cool.
movie. Great job.
Fist to face.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, how you guys doing? I'm Fist to Face, one half of New Soul with my father, Pops in Space.
New Soul.
Basically, we do like my dad said, content revolving around Star Citizen. We don't really stream or anything like that. We just do like some things like music videos, kind of revamp Pedro Camacho's soundtrack and make it our own remixes. We also provide music to other content creators like Soul Citizens and as well as Paul Shelley.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, he makes our music for us. All right, Grim, Star Jump.
Hey everyone, I'm Grim, part of Star Jump. There's a couple other people in it as well. I guess I would be opinion and information content creator on YouTube primarily, but I guess I would also say tools now, as we're doing tools. We just did Star Jump Fleet Viewer, and we have some other big stuff coming in that kind of regime. But yeah, that's me.
Good to have you, buddy. Montoya, Test.
Hey, well, first of all, let me just thank Griff for pulling us together. One of the few people that takes the time to actually do this. And secondly, how great it is to see so many new faces in there. The content creators have changed so much over the years. I mean, you've all got uglier and older, but lots of new faces coming in, and especially from other games like Elite Dangerous, which is great to see also. I guess as for me, my vector into Star Citizen, I guess, is a bit different. I came in a bit early, well, not early, and I started a little organization called Test Squadron, which now is the largest org in the game. And I realized that not many orgs early on were doing any kind of promotion. They weren't putting out any kind of content. So we started putting out memes, and I started putting out stupid videos on YouTube just to grow the audience. And as the audience grew, people started coming to me for questions. Like, hey, Montoya, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I was like, why are you asking me these questions? And it turns out people just want information. So I started just putting out regular videos. And before you know it, I ended up on YouTube. It wasn't the intention. It wasn't the goal. But here we are. And we're almost there, guys. Hang in there. Any year now. It's happening. I can feel it.
I think we've said any year now more than we've said immersion. I think,
but now it is closer for real.
This is the year.
I think every year Board Gamer said the game is 2 years away for like the last.
Board Gamer had a full head of hair. His hair was down to his shoulders when he started. Little known fact.
The 6th anniversary of 2 years ago.
My hair was black when this game started.
There were hints of gray. There were some hints of gray. We saw it coming.
Jay Voodoo Child.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Jay Voodoo Child. I'm relatively new to the Star Citizen landscape, and I started posting videos on YouTube mainly to get out my perspective on the game, which I was not seeing on other channels. And so hopefully I'm just providing a unique point of view. Thank you.
Welcome. Smithy Joe Bob. Your name is just so cool. Just say, Smithy Joe Bob. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Oh, good morning. Hi, I'm Smithy. I stream on Twitch. I guess I would say I'm entertainment, but I don't know how much fun it is watching me like go around the track for like hours. But yeah, I mostly do racing these days. Running an org called Omega Aerosports, sort of more of like a social racing club thing. We do track day every Thursday night, and yeah, just trying to make racing accessible to everybody.
Very cool.
And sometimes I build stuff.
Okay, nice. Board Gamer.
Hello, I'm Board Gamer. I've covered Star Citizen for about 8 years now, primarily on my YouTube channel. I suspect I'm hopefully considered news and informational as a channel. I dream of being entertaining. I suppose I describe my content as prolific more than anything else. It does feel a little bit like I'm on Alcoholics Anonymous now, but yeah, thanks very much for I got my 8-year badge. Yeah, thanks for running this. Thanks for having me, and it's genuinely great to see so many people here. Actually, I've not seen anyone organize anything ever. Like it's hard to get content creators together, like herding cats. So good job, genuinely.
Thank you, guys. Pulsar Prime.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kelstar Prime. I'm fairly new to Twitch, so I'm primarily a Twitch streamer, focusing on racing. I started racing earlier this year. I discovered the scr.gg's website, and I said, wow, I didn't know there was this beyond Arena Commander. And I had plans to stream over a year ago, but unfortunately, I had some medical issues with my wife and postponed it, but I'm glad to say that she's recovering now. And, you know, I'm basically, yeah, racing. Now, I do have a little bit of a YouTube channel. It's mostly time trials and things like that. I do post times on scrs.gg, but I just like, I forgot who it was. That was just before me. Just trying to make racing accessible to more people. A lot of people don't realize that racing's big, and now with 318 coming, you know, there's going to be more of that. So mostly entertainment, I guess. A little bit of information in terms of people ask me, hey, how did you do that? How do you race, etc. And then I give them links or information. And yeah, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate all the other content creators here that have also helped me and informed me in the past. So thank you.
Very cool. Digital Master Gaming.
Hey, first of all, thank you for inviting me. But hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, actually. I just started taking YouTube seriously. I'm primarily YouTube. I've done streaming a long time ago on a different channel, both on Twitch and YouTube. But with Star Citizen, like I said, I just decided to start taking it seriously. So I'd say information. Again, I attempt entertainment, and I think a little bit of opinion, just a little bit sprinkled in there. But again, thank you for having me. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice. Let's see. HC Vertigo.
Hey, I'm AC Vertigo. I do a little bit of everything, right? I do content, opinion, entertainment. I'm trying to do more educational stuff on Star Citizen on YouTube and Twitch, where and we think about setting up like an Instagram account to do like shorts for like how to get out of your bed and find the ship spawn terminal at Lorville. You know, just because I get that. I mean, a lot of people point out like how Star Citizen going to maintain its crowdfunding, right? And I see a lot of new people. I mean, a lot of new people in the game chat these days asking dumb questions like, how do I get my ship? How do I sell scrap? How do I find the other box I'm supposed to get?
Do you sell scrap?
Yeah, very carefully. So I like now's the time to create like tutorials if you're all thinking about doing like YouTube stuff. Like it's pretty easy to do like a tutorial, like how to find this, how to do this simple thing, how to do hand mining, stuff like that. So do a lot of everything. So yes, as Paul Shelley said, I'm a yes content creator.
Okay.
In Star Citizen.
Algorid.
Hello, I am Al Garrod, also known by some people as Old Man Al Hurston. Thank you, Paul. I'm one of the info runners. I suppose we're infotainment. We're best known for Fix My Fleet, where people come who generally have spent too much and say, how do I consolidate my fleet to get to the ships I want? And then we go, well, do you want bang for buck, or do you want, and then we try and help them. And that seems to be quite popular. We do a live stream on a Friday, which originally was going to be gameplay as well, and our audience complained because, I don't know, and they'll ask us questions for hours on end. Again, like Montoya said, don't know why they ask us questions, but they do, and we give them our opinion. So infotainment and opinion, like every streamer, I think, here. So there you go.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. Good to see you
No
as
worries.
always. What time is it there?
It is now 3:45 a.m.
Oh, thank you. All of you guys who are on the other side of the planet, thank you guys so much for putting in the time to be here. 11 Tanger.
Coffee.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm 11. My channel's 11's Hanger on YouTube. I focus primarily on ship combat, sometimes tutorials. Sometimes I try to put some cool music in with some ships blowing up and stuff like that. But that's pretty much the focus. I did start the channel. I just wanted to throw this in. I started the channel because I wanted to show people that it doesn't really matter what ship you're in to have a good time, be effective in the game, and progress and enjoy yourself. So that was why I started doing the channel.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice. Good cause.
Nice. Love that background.
I try.
Yeah, love that background. Red
I
Monster
definitely love the grappling.
SC.
Hey, Red Monster SC. I do tutorials on YouTube, so a lot of education on industrial gameplay. I'm big into mining, and with Salvage coming to 318, I've focused as much time as I could put on that in the PTU when it plays well. And then I live stream on Twitch for entertainment, but my org, the Red Legion, we put on some interesting events and try and focus on like org versus org combat. And then also we have a Sunday mining session where we go out with a group of, sometimes up to 20 people doing group mining, and it's pretty fun.
Okay, good to have you. Old man Johnny Morgan.
Hey, thank you very much for having us too. I really appreciate this. I migrated over from DayZ, actually is where I came from. So it was 2019 I came over. I did a little bit of Twitch to start with. I have a very severe autistic son. It doesn't really work well with live streaming, so I migrated more into YouTube. And I've been really enjoying it. So I'm more of an immersion streamer, which is kind of like the background from DayZ comes from. That's also where the name comes from. Is Old Man Johnny Morgan. That's the character that I kind of played in Cherno on DayZ Underground. So had a lot of fun there, got kind of small, and Star Citizen I've been following, and it was Salty Mike and Meyer that tricked me into joining Star Citizen, and then I've been here ever since. And I love all you guys, like from everyone's type of content here. I watch a lot of you, 11's Hanger, love your stuff. Zark Media, I'm a huge fan of that stuff too, and I like seeing all the different type of immersion and interactions between players. That's kind of what I focus on. So definitely combat. I really like competitive team play gameplay, part of the Skunks. I do that stuff and work with Katie a little bit and stuff too there, and it's just been really enjoying the growth of Star Citizen. Like you guys are saying, tons of new people coming in. Like we see it in the org too, the funnel coming in, and they're really fun to play with, and I'm really enjoying it. So kind of where I'm at. And love seeing everyone here. Thanks, man.
Man, can I ask, is Will real?
That is very top secret classified information. I cannot share that. I'm so sorry. I will not confirm or deny the reality of Will.
All right. Leafx.
Never needs a little mystery.
Leaf.
Hey, I guess today I'm faceless. I cannot get this camera working. But at least the mic works. Hopefully it's the right one. My name's Brody. Leafx is what you'll probably see me online as. I am professionally an esports caster, but in Star Citizen, I watch all of your guys' videos. I don't know why I was invited here. Now I've been making YouTube videos for a year and a half now. I said I really need to stop being lazy, get my ADHD under control, and said I'm going to make one video every single week for an entire year. And I did that for all of 2021, I believe it was, and 2022, just other projects. So most of my stuff is I go from making just information stuff, like guides on stuff, to straight up just messing around, shenanigans, and role play stuff. So trying to figure out what audience I can make content for better yet. So I'm still sorting that out and enjoy all your stuff. So thank you for inviting me, by the way. I still feel like I'm new to this and don't belong here, but it's very nice to be involved in something like this. So yeah, shout outs again as you guys are putting this on, and thanks for the invite.
Oh, I hope you can get your camera going. And I dig your videos.
I have no idea why it's
I dig your videos, dude. I do. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hayden Ariana.
Hey everyone, I'm Maiden Ariana. I'm, I'll just use my short bio that I wrote for this, but a lead IT architect by day, YouTube and Twitch creator by night. I've been on Twitch for about 7 years, but part-time. So it's been going from things like PUBG to eventually Star Citizen, although I've been a Star Citizen backer since 2013. I'm a retro PC enthusiast, as you can see behind me. I'm also doing esports with the Women's Carball Rocket League tournament lately. So that's been a lot of fun. And then of course I'm Yacht Club, the producer and host of Yacht Club. I share that title with Stim though. And then most recently I've been hosting in-person Bar Citizens, as well as the virtual one we do with Yacht Club every week.
Okay.
So that's me.
Thank you, Maiden. Papadopoulos.
Hey everybody, I'm Papadopoulos, and I am a Twitch streamer. A lot of people know me as a more of an informational and educational streamer from Elite Dangerous. And I kind of got into Star Citizen from, a lot of Elite Dangerous viewers who were just like, you should try Star Citizen. And so what's crazy is that in Star Citizen, I'm not an informational streamer because I don't care a lot about lore in pretty much anything that I play. I got my hands on a DJ controller about in October of last year. And so now whenever my PC wants to agree with me, I stream Star Citizen on Twitch, just going around DJing while streaming Star Citizen simultaneously, and just encouraging viewers who are watching who are playing Star Citizen or running into communities and saying, hey, I can DJ on your ship. And, kind of like just take it from there. So, trying to find all creative ways of being able to incorporate what I enjoy learning or doing and sharing it with others. And that's kind of like how I normally carry my content. So happy to be here. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
I'll be reaching out. I love what you're doing, man. I think we've met in game actually.
Yeah, probably. I think so. Cool.
Dark Knight 75.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I've had to deal with a major computer hardware failure over the last week, and I'm just getting back up to speed. Good to meet everyone. Yes.
DK, I'm sorry. I know you got here afterwards, so you didn't get to hear the intro. We're just doing intro with
all right.
What platform you're on, and what are you, information, opinion, or entertainment?
All right, so I am with the Soul Citizen stream team, and we are a panel group. Obviously, you all, I'm sure, know who we are. Been with the team for about 2 years. Been with the team for a couple of years now, and we do a lot of shows, information, community conversations, things like that. And I'm also a resident house DJ at G-Lock Bar in Area 18, broadcasting on the People's Radio. Do usually put out a set once every couple of months. Jade, I'm a little behind this year right now, but definitely check out Saturdays for that. And otherwise, I came from the Elite Dangerous team like you, Papadopoulos. Did a little bit of content creation. I do have a YouTube channel. I don't post anything there. Hasn't been posted in about a couple of years, but you can always go back and see the history. But that's it.
All right, you guys want a good house mix? Dark Knight 75. That's it right there. Space Tech. My voice is going already.
Hey folks. Yeah, so I'm Space Tech. I'm a very new creator. I only started in content creation the past September or so. I do a lot of informative content, spliced with entertainment. It's very focused on the game as it plays today, not so much how it will be in like 5, 6, 7 tomorrow. Yeah, so it's like I generally cover like the detailed statistics behind ships and the numbers, the damage, range comparisons, drop-offs, recoil plots. If Star Citizen alone wasn't nerdy enough for you, and you're all about like min-maxing like loadouts and stuff like that, I'm your guide there. So that's pretty much what I cover. But yeah, thanks folks for hosting this.
Awesome, glad you're here. Kaizen. We're almost done, guys. Did we lose Kai?
Okay, so I'm confused as to why I'm here. I'm taking a break. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Twitch channel. I'm not really doing anything on either of them right now. When I was creating stuff and not on a break. I don't think I was particularly educational or informative, and I don't have a whole lot of opinions. So I'm just here to drink beer and listen.
All right, so he's not going to say it, but Kai was with Black Sky Legion. Some of you all may remember them when they used to be with Elite, and then they also were doing reviews of any space game at one particular point. You guys were doing No Man's Sky, you were doing information about Elite, you were doing information about Star Citizen. And he's on hiatus right now, so that's why he's here. In case he doesn't know, that's why he's here, because they have contributed to.
Have opinion. He definitely does have opinion.
He definitely has opinion. He's an opinion show. There you go. Thank you,
I am
he definitely has opinions.
I am here.
He's got a lot of opinions. Okay?
I am here to flirt and to worship down to earth astronomy. Who, if you guys don't know this, actually got his damn doctorate degree on like sunspots. Like he's a legit astrophysicist. That's some real shit.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Jade Star Watcher.
Okay, well, let's see where to begin. So I'm Jade Star Watcher. I'll start with where most of you probably know me from is the Soul Citizens. I joined their crew in 2021, right, Griff? And but before then, I became a Star Citizen backer in 2016, along with playing No Man's Sky and Elite, but Star Citizen like stole my heart. And I ended up co-founding a notorious pirate org, which I'm not going to name, which created an internal radio station, which ended up becoming something called the People's Radio, which launched in 2017. So it's like, what, 5 years now?
Almost 6.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I'll say 5 because it's only been public. It was internal for a year, so 5 since 2018. We create immersive, in lore, influenced content, and it's a platform for anybody that's doing, immersive. Sorry, you can drink. Content that's based in the Star Citizen universe. Big supporter of Oliver Zark and Zark Media and EE Studios. We've worked with them. Obviously, DK is one of our DJs, as is Fast Cart. We have 6, almost 7 DJs now, and Papadopoulos, you're welcome to join us if you want. I also am heavily involved in the ground racing community. I've been around with the Atmo esports people, the Daymar Rally when it was just the Shubin to Eager Flats Challenge. My orgs won the first Daymar Rally, first Hurst and Hurt Locker, and first New Babbage Bash versus CIG developers. And I think I've talked too long, so that's about it.
Okay. Calamitous Intent.
What's good, citizens? How you doing this morning?
All right.
You hear me good?
Yeah.
Well, well, as you can see, first time Zoomer. I don't have a camera set up here for you guys. I apologize.
Okay.
New to Twitch streaming, new to Star Citizen, all that. We're on Twitch, as I said. I would say that we're definitely entertainment. We're not doing any informational stuff over there. It's a bit of a mess. So it's definitely entertainment, and I would say community building. That's probably the biggest thing. A lot of the people that are in the stream right now and in the channel are the reason that I got started. And I just want to continue that, keep bringing new citizens into the verse and into my channel. And I kind of started doing it for fun at first, but people continually showed up stream after stream and week after week. So I'm gonna keep going with it. So thanks for having me.
Okay. And last but not least, Alejandro. Here.
Hi, how you doing, guys? I'm not a content creator. I've been working on a podcast studio on my house. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I've been looking for content for creation. And I found Star Citizen to be probably the most added value of. I saw the movies and all that stuff from Machinima or Machina.
Machinima. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been gobbling content. So a few creators have seen me around probably your streams or your posts. And I'm currently working on, I've been writing for about a month, and I work with students in universities, and I do collaborations. So I basically, I'm a change agent, but I'm setting up my own studio, and I want to do content for Star Citizen when I start streaming.
Okay. So, welcome. And I think, is that everybody? Did I miss anyone?
Missed me, but that's okay.
I'm saving you for last. All right, I think we got everybody. Okay, we are going to introduce ourselves. FC, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Basgard FC. I'm part of the Soul Citizen team. Also a DJ on the People Radio. It's a couple of other people here on Soul Citizens. I guess I want to say informative, but we do opinions and I hope as a step two. We stream weekly, Sundays 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC, and have Soul Talk on Thursdays evening, and Soul Voices hopefully after this summit. But yeah, Bascott, check us out on Soul Citizen.
Creator of bad jokes.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
All right. Last but not least, and we are right at the top of the hour, so we are actually right on time. I'm Griffin Gaming, as you guys know, producer with Soul Citizens. And again, thank you guys for being here today. Let's jump into it. Don't forget about the house rules that we talked about earlier. And again, as I mentioned to you earlier, if you want to stream this, please feel free to let your folks that like to follow you see what's happening with this if you'd like. The first topic for session one is titled, Are You a Voice in the Community? But I use the moniker that I'm going to use a lot of things that Jared has said publicly in relation to the game. And it was when we kicked off CitizenCon this year and we saw the new set that they had. And, you know, it was very kind of cool seeing the interior of the Phoenix built out, new layout. But the thing that really I thought was cool was they had the little plaque on the wall and naming it the only constant, right? And we've heard Jared say it a zillion times, the only constant is change. And I want to ask you guys, when it comes to navigating this whole thing that you're trying to do it with Star Citizen, as a content creator, and whether you've been here 8 years, 9 years, or whether you just started within the last 2-3 months, as a content creator, are there difficulties? Now, next section we're going to get into is going to be talking about, well, I might as well address it now. You know, what are those hurdles right now? Obviously, we know that, yeah, well, we're waiting on the game. But I'm asking something a little bit more in depth for you as a content creator. You know, what's the hurdle right now for you? Navigating this whole process of a development of a game. First of all, we all know there are games that we hear about, right? Usually we get some announcement at some game convention, something's coming out. But but most of us don't go out and start building a whole live stream or start making videos for something that's not necessarily in our hands. It's a big difference with this particular project. And for those of you who've been around the early days, when some of you had to wait a whole year before you got new content, which some of us may not remember or forgotten about, you know, how do you manage that? How do you navigate something that's always changing? A roadmap that says one thing and maybe another time something flips off or something gets pushed back. Let's jump into that real quick and see what we can do. Okay, let's start with Calamitous right up front. What you got?
Yeah, thanks. Welcome back again. I was going to put this in part of my intro because this is part of the issue. What I want to do in the game is not there at all. I want to do like data running, relics, things like that. They just do not exist at the moment. So that's why for me, it's until the time being where we start getting those things in. It's about just creating things that the community can do together, because a lot of Star Citizen's content right now is what we make. You know, it's not what CIG is providing to us. It's what can we come up with and you know, keep things fun and keep people coming back week after week. So that's basically how I do it, is just try and keep the community engaged and basically make up our own games, you know. So
okay, cool, thank you. Certified Gumbo, make sure you drop your hand when you're through saying whatever you say, because the queue will keep moving over. Certified Gumbo.
Hey, yeah, so being a newer content creator, I started playing in 2021, and I also started making content that year. I'm also a member of Armco, and I think one of the big things is like the multi-crew stuff and not having as much multi-crew gameplay as I would like to have, because that was one of the big selling points for me, because I've been following this project since the Kickstarter. But once I started playing, like I'm in film and television, so this past year I was actually out of town working on a TV show. But during that downtime, I took some time to like go back and look at a lot of the dev like vlogs.
Let me stop you 1 second, Gumbo. Don't forget, get 1 minute. So now I'm
Gotcha.
gonna give you 30 more seconds.
Gotcha. So primarily, I mean, the roadmap is kind of cool, but I'd like the weekly shows. I think the weekly shows are a better insight into what they're working on and what they're doing currently. So that's kind of it.
Okay. Nazareth, thank you.
All right. So I normally, like, I always definitely, when I'm talking about something that's coming or balance or whatever, I always like do the whole Jared thing. Like, nothing here is permanent. Everything will change. Just because something ends in the roadmap doesn't mean it's done. Just because they said something or working on something doesn't mean they're going to finish it. And one thing I'd like to say is I'm just addicted to potential. I get on like early access games and I'm super excited about them. When they release, I'm like, okay, it's done now. Just go on to the next in development game. And I know a little bit behind the scenes of game development. I haven't been in a studio or anything, but I've at least published a little tiny game that I've made. And I know like stuff just breaks and you have no idea what anything's going on. You can only assume things. So I'm just here for the ride. I've been here since 2014 and I just love the movement of it. Just being able to be here and to see it. The stuff getting delayed or canceled or whatever doesn't affect me that much. I'm just here for it.
Okay, gotcha. Good.
Sorry
He
to
did
interrupt,
it
Griffin.
in 1 minute. That's the first time I've seen Nazareth say anything in 1 minute. That's amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Yes, sorry to interrupt, Griffin, but people are asking in chat for you to re-ask the question.
Oh God. Okay.
No, just be a
I
short
got
version,
you.
that's
Yeah,
all.
I'm trying to remember what I said. Okay. Yeah, we're dealing with the whole idea of the only constant is that things change. That's what Jared has said to us in relation to development. And how do you, as a content creator, deal with that? You know, the fact that, you know, for some of you, you want to be able to project out next week what I want to do, or next month, or this quarter what I want to do. But then you're living with this thing that stuff's always changing, you know, for the good or for the bad, whatever the case may be. As a content creator, how are you molding that? How are you still being able to produce stuff? Some of you are doing it for 8 years. Some of you are just getting started. It's going to be something that you got to tackle. Okay, Zark.
Yeah, thank you. I'm of the opinion that I could stop developing the game right now, and that is because playing like a Machinima character and creating a story that plays on consistency is very hard when they keep changing things. And I love the change. I mean, that was a joke, of course. I want to see the game finished. I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah. But the biggest obstacle for me was when they introduced localized inventory, and I couldn't access all my like props and inventory and clothes wherever I was in the verse. I could just bring it forward like a year ago. But then localized inventory came along, and I was like, oh, my shirt is only for sale in Orison, which takes 20 minutes to get into, and yeah. So yeah, that was a huge thing that I had to reconsider, like how I plan out my work and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Digital Master Gaming.
Yeah. So for me, as a YouTuber, what I call myself doing is studying like how YouTube works, right? The algorithm. And I think it all boils down to what you want to do or what your goals are as a content creator. So with that said, for me, it's about understanding how YouTube serves content, which is all about the viewer. So then you have to sort of marry, you know, what's relevant versus what you enjoy doing as a, you know, Star Citizen, both content creator and fan. And so pretty much what everyone is saying is resonating, because for me as a tech professional, you know, I feel like I have a unique opportunity, like going over the tech behind Star Citizen, as much as the information that CIG, you know, puts out there. So that's really my goal right now. But even outside of that, for example, I like gameplay, but how many people like to watch gameplay and on what platform, right? So it's about figuring out what works and what resonates with me as a content creator, I think. And that's where I'm at right now with that.
Okay, it's good stuff. Thank you. HC Vertigo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm typing memes in the stream chat. Like, okay, so question. Actually, I had to write this question down because I figured there'd be a lot of people before I got to me. So, how do you deal with SC over the years? You show me a content creator for Star Citizen, I'll show you a variety content creator. Like, just there's other projects out there that are great to stream and do content for besides just Star Citizen while it's going through some rough periods. My community, there's a lot of great people in my community that make, even when Star Citizen's being kind of rough, you could just meme it up in this Twitch chat and you have some great jokes, stuff going on there. And sometimes you just got to grit your teeth and just get through it.
Mm.
You know, if you want to stick with Star Citizen as a content creator, it has rough spots. I mean, even Tarkov has rough spots. You know, they're I've been reading on them, and they got problems with hackers these days and content and all that kind of other stuff. You will have dry spells, and it's just something you got to deal with, you know, as a content creator.
Okay, thank you. Great. Old man Johnny Morgan.
How you doing, man? So my biggest one initially was the VoIP. Because I like to do the player interaction and talk to people. So it was 312, I think was 313. It's still my best videos, my VoIP tips and tricks. Still stands up today, really helpful, especially if you're using Discord, etc. But that was my big hurdle. And then since then, it's more interesting backdrops. So, you know, when the Daymar Cave was really active because Hadanite was there, that was fantastic. I could generate interactions really quickly and a variety, whether cooperative to combat oriented, right? Because I do come from DayZ on that side of it. So, you know, I'm looking for that to produce some immersive content. And I've also gotten into a little bit long format interview, which I like doing that as well too. So, and occasionally popping onto Salty Mike's podcast, which I love talking to Mikey. And yeah, so, but in Star Citizen, the challenge is definitely changes, but how do I have consistency in my content and storytelling? And the more content they add, it's been better for me. So 318, really looking forward to it. We have more backdrops to play with, more things. And then it was the solo play. So I got into team oriented, jumped into the skunks, and I've had an amazing time in there. Katie's a huge influence on my content as well too, right? So I kind of look at her for a mentor role on that side of stuff. I'm good.
Great. HCM, actually drop your hand for me. Old man, same thing. And let's go to Lednap.
Yeah, you know, I with Calamitous and HC and that, you know, I've been playing for a long time, but also my gameplay really isn't out, even though I do a lot of cargo hauling. But what's interesting about Star Citizen is that I think the reason your earlier question throws everybody for a kind of loop on that is you have to really be a chameleon of a content creator, because in one patch you've got stuff to do. I used to do tutorials, but 2 patches later they're no good anymore. You know, so you just have to adapt. But you know, one of the things that has carried me through, particularly in the dry spells that I talk about, everyone else stops playing, you got to keep playing to keep content up, is having a solid community. Because when everything gets really stale and old, the best fun I've had in this game is stuff that wasn't put in by CIG. It's the shenanigans you get into in the actual verse. And I think that's kind of the key. And trying to bring that out is my current challenge in my own content. So that's what I'm working at.
Okay, very cool. Fist 25.
Hey, yeah. So, you know, with the lack of content and opportunities over the last year or so, it's been a challenge for Jawa and I to figure out really what we want to do and how we can overcome the lack of content. And we've just been rebooting some of our videos and coming up with new ideas. We're getting into more machinima and things like that, starting a new series soon. And recently we just started making like music videos, and they kind of became the intros for our stream. And that's been a ton of fun. But I have to agree with Lednap that the best time we've had in the past year is being in our you know, with our stream team and all those folks who stream with us. And it's just, boom, the content kind of creates itself. And that's something that's fairly unique to my experience. And that seems to be the best time we've had.
Okay. Diablos.
Well, it's a little bit different for me, because you said active development. CIG have changed their files so many times. Making stuff like that requires a lot of help from people making tools to be able to pull files out. So from my point of view, the fact it's an active development means it's actually, sometimes I might not be able to pull files for like 6 months after they release them, because of the simple fact is CIG has changed structures and stuff. And it's weird having to deal with that issue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bronzy?
There's one thing that you sort of
mentioned in your question about, there's so many content creators, and there are so many Star Citizen content creators. And so it's like, you sort of think about it, well, how can we make it all fresh? And I think a lot of people forget just how much content this game has, how much information we get about this game, how many things, because it's in active development, you can actually have opinions on for different features. There is so much that you can talk about this game without overlapping over opinions of anyone else, that it's kind of easy. It's kind of an easy job. So, that's kind of just my comment on it.
Okay. You're the only person that smiled when you answered that question. So I guess.
I smile all the time.
Sniffy Joe Bob.
Hey, yeah. So, oh man, I had words. They're gone. It's too early. Okay, yeah. So I have a saying that I say all the time when I'm playing Star Citizen, especially on stream, and something goes sideways, because Star Citizen is probably the biggest blocker to making content for Star Citizen, right? It's, oh, Star Citizen, never change, please change. And it's just about laughing and keep going through and trying to just find something else to do.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Boss Lady B.
Well, it's such a different world being in the live streaming versus evergreen content. So I feel like on the Twitch side, it's fantastic because there is always things changing and the community. So it is that being able to have the people there and having that core community. But I think that comment about being variety it's one of those things where other games, other survival games, bringing that in when maybe something's going a little bit wonky with Star Citizen, but yes, there's so much depth to get into and kind of focusing on different areas. There's so much detail and so much creativity, but it's definitely on the community side.
Okay, thank you. Joe Run.
Yeah, I have to agree a bit with Croncy and Vertigo that you definitely have to be flexible as everything changes, but there are so many different things to do. And even when we don't have major new content patches, there's just already so much in the game. I think back to 2017 and 2.6.3 for those of you all that were here, where there was nothing for a year, literally nothing for a year. And there's so much new things constantly happening in the development. The pace is still fairly fast. And some of us, all we do every week is just talk about that. And I think capitalizing on how it's changing and even though we're a long way from getting the big stuff, there's all this new small stuff, and 318 is pretty exciting.
Thank you, Jerome. Jay Voodoo Child.
So like I was saying earlier, I'm an opinion player or content creator, and also I'm new to the game. And one thing about my opinions is that I'm kind of narrow in my bandwidth of what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, I don't have the community yet to engage in back and forth and to get other perspectives. And so as far as my content, it really doesn't have legs. And once I just express my opinion, then I kind of go on to the next subject. And that will have a limited lifespan. Something that was mentioned earlier, something with my best friend that I've known since high school. Whenever we get together, we spend half of our time talking about the good old days and the other half of the time creating things that we'll talk about tomorrow. And I hope to, as a content creator, to build a community, to have those experiences, and to enjoy the environment going forward.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Paul Shelley.
So I will say just very briefly, the thing that I've been doing this for so long that the key is to be flexible, as a couple of people have said. I started doing streaming when I started streaming Arena Commander, back when we just had Arena Commander. And I've kind of evolved since then over time, and being flexible in what kind of content you create is the best way of staying on top of things as a creator. Though I would say the biggest struggles I have is that there is an incredible amount of lore and backstory for Star Citizen, but there's just no reason for it. There's just nothing in the game. So there's no real interest in it. So the discovery process of making something about lore is twice as hard as making anything about the game, because you're just not going to get views unless you absolutely have to like go out and find them and drag those people in. So you have to have a big, wide community on top of that in order to create a lot of the content, especially if you really want to. So,
yeah. Paul, let me say this, and maybe some other people may have some comment to what I'm about to say, that you may be one of those things where you become the legend 100 years from now, but
yeah,
the work that you do, there's a tremendous amount of us that tap into that for our research. So, I know you may not feel it, that there's no need, but for those of us who are out here, it's a need.
I get it.
We don't have the time to read, and we can put you on in the car, or we can listen to you. So I want to tell you thank you personally.
Thank you.
It is something that, and I know as a content creator, things can be frustrating because we don't necessarily feel that we're working at our most optimum because the game's not at its most optimum. But I want to tell you personally, your work is not in vain. We appreciate you.
I get it, you, Paul.
I was just gonna say more. It's more of a just one of those like. I know I'm not the only one, and I think Boss Lady said it best, which is like evergreen content versus content that's there. Like I know, like my lore content, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whenever CIG decides to release Pyro before the heat death of the universe, will start to matter more. But because it's not mattering now, it's harder. It's that struggle to be like, do I even make this video? Should I even bother this? Will I have to do something else? It's that struggle. I think that's the struggle that I'm sure a lot of content creators have, which is just, does this matter?
Yeah.
Does this, like, why do I do this? And then, finding a reason to keep going, even though sometimes CIG is terrible with updates, especially those little things. So,
gotcha. Thank you. All right, down to earth astronomy.
Yeah, I personally thrive in a volatile game that like Star Citizen. I mean, I'm primarily a guide maker. I make guides and tutorials. That's what I enjoy doing. I like taking game mechanics and break them into small pieces. And having a game that changes so rapidly as Star Citizen does, it just means it gives me more stuff to talk about. And I think it was Letnap that mentioned before that the difficult thing that is to know when a video has become outdated enough, because it's not black and white, because there can still be like 95% of a video still good, but the small detail has changed. Do you update a comment? Do you make a completely new video? That's the difficult part, figuring out when is a video enough outdated that it needs an update. But I personally enjoy having this volatile game as Star Citizen is, because it gives me more stuff to talk about.
Okay, great. Thank you. Morphologists.
Hi, yeah. So I think there's already been a lot of good stuff said. I think the community is such an important aspect to being a content creator, both streaming and being on YouTube, being able to interact with that community in times where, the game isn't really very easy to play and make content on is extremely helpful. And I got to say, for those of you who are doing only streaming, I don't envy that. It's really difficult to stream on some days, like today, trying to play PTUs, just kind of a nightmare. But what I usually do is I try to look to make content that is independent of Star Citizen necessarily working. So doing like an architect reviews or something, I find is a type of content that I can go back to if the game isn't being cooperative for doing things like gameplay. So I think it's about finding what you do best, what kind of value you can bring to the community, what kind of information you can provide, and then that can keep you going in the ups and downs of content creation for Star Citizen, because there are a lot of ups and downs.
Okay, good stuff. Red Monster SC.
Yeah, I think you just need to approach it with the expectation that things are going to change. You're going to get that, the fresh new car smell for a couple of weeks, and you're going to be in there learning everything you can about what's updated, and then you're going to find this lull. And at that point, you need to kind of embrace the sandbox environment. Racing, XGR and Atmo Esports have done a great job of doing that. But driving and kind of embracing that sandbox fully, creating your own content and designing rules or gameplay around that is going to be key. To down to earth astronomy's point, you need to, if you're doing tutorials, you need to plan on maybe some fine details of that content changing in the future, that you want to create an overall structure that you can, it's not a simple endeavor to put together a good tutorial video. And if that's immediately outdated on the next run, next patch, it's a lot of effort that could be wasted. So you got to consider the changes ahead of time, like maybe avoid going into the super detailed content, but provide an overall strategy and theory of how something should work, so that when the gemstones don't stack anymore, it's not going to be a huge problem for you in the future.
I appreciate your new car smell. It made me think of afterward. It becomes like the empty McDonald's box and the stuff that's laying around in your car afterward. I like that. Okay. All right. Ciao, Sparky.
Hey, it's just such an honor to be here. I'm seeing these faces here that I've been following for years on YouTube. But for me, it's the community that makes it. I have my own perspective and everything, but it's great to hear our community's perspective on things. Hey, and it gives me more ideas. Or, hey, have you looked into this? And especially on our fun streams on Sundays, on Thursdays, we just have a blast. But the best advice I got was, you got to do what you enjoy doing. And I started doing those travel videos, and I just love doing those things. I get so excited about a new system and researching it. So thanks, Griff.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Kaizen.
So first off, in response to Astropub, with his comment on Pyro before the heat death of the universe, how bold of you to presume. But I would say that the thing that I get,
I'm an optimist. That's what I say.
The thing that I get from everybody and all of the various different commentary, the thing that strikes me is that, number one, Star Citizen is such a unique property in that nothing is finished, nothing is complete, everything is up in the air. And that's different than just about every other game that people are creating content for. But also at the same time, there are a billion different aspects to it. I've heard all of these different content creators, and almost nobody is repeating that they do the same thing. So it's the thing that's constant is that nothing is done. The community is unique, and there's just all of these different levels for people to find their lane, whether it's through daily streams or different types of guides, or this one's into flight mechanics and that one's into low atmo flying and this one's into racing in Daymar and whatever. And that just, there's so many different lanes for people to create content with. And seeing all these different content creators, I love the idea of something like this. Thank you, Griff, for putting it together, for content creators to come together, find each other, and maybe make sort of connections to collaborate and do stuff together. So love you for that, brother.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kai. Grim.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of think of all my content as future looking, whether it's cinematics or tools, because I always seem to show stuff that doesn't exist yet. And most of what I'm looking for in the game is not, in the game yet. But so I think that's a big reason why I've started looking at, getting into more like tool development. And I think shouting out people like Lunfacy over at Starship 42 and the guy over at Urkel and the team that does StarFab and stuff that allows people to pull model data and stuff is a really big deal, because they're kind of putting power into the content creators. So that's what interests me about that. But something Paul was talking about with lore specifically, and how there's this huge backlog of lore. There's also a huge backlog of just information from CIG. And what's funny when we talk about the Star Citizen's kind of unique in that there's like the current people that focus on the current stuff, and then there's people that focus purely on speculation and information that CIG put out in 2014. I think it's funny, like our Star Jump Station discussion episodes we do, our most popular one by far is on the Endeavor, and it's probably the most speculative thing in Star Citizen is that damn ship. So I think that's kind of a interesting, just kind of point, if we did something on salvage, it would probably get half the views, because there's already people that focus on that. But if I focus on some repair document that CIG put out in 2015, there's still a lot of interest in that, and you'll get a lot of eyes on your content, just cherry picking some of that old information.
Okay. Let me put out a quick plug. I'm using my moderator power here. Put out a quick plug. First of all, I want to say to Grim, thank you. I'm sure from all of us again. One of the things that all of you all know, that the work that the folks over at Star Jump do, Grim, Ender, and Starlet, has had a tremendous impact, not just on us as content creators in the community, But the other thing that you've done, Grim, and I've never said this to you personally. Hi, how are you? Let her know we're
My
saying hi to
daughter
her.
wanders in.
I know. The other thing is that you've brought us a closer step to the reality of what we've dreamed about. And I know you may not look at it that way, but man, the first time I saw that doggone Drake interplanetary thing you did with all the ships flying around, and my heart started racing because it brought the reality of what we've been seeing on paper or on screen, video forums, into like, wow, here's the potential of what this is and why we're backing it. So I want to say this to you guys. Grim has always said, you guys have heard him say this before, those of you who know him, that the content he makes is for the community. And so anytime you guys can pump up their site, Hanger Link, anytime he's loaned us his graphics. He's like, Griff, you guys are doing a thing on the Endeavor. Hey, I'll send you the files. I mean, he has such a great open heart for the community. So I want to say thank you for those of you who've been able to take advantage of that too. You know, the folks over Star Jump have been just awesome. So thank you for that contribution that you guys have done.
Yeah,
for
thank
us
you.
as
Appreciate
creators, as creators.
Yeah, I mean, we look at it very much like the Urkel, group does with their stuff. It's all CIG's information, so we're just putting it in a place where people can access it. So
well, we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Papadopoulos.
Hey, so being a Twitch streamer, and also a serial hobbyist, it's like I have two things that kind of like plays against me most of the time. Especially when it comes to wanting to create content for Star Citizen. A lot of what I do is kind of like in the moment. It's for the moment. It's not educational. It's not informational. It's about being able to have people who I encounter, whether it's viewers or in game, to like really enjoy and have fun and be like, oh, that's kind of like a cool moment that happened, where they'll come across and they just hear music blasting while I run past them, and kind of like what makes that difficult, especially before this current patch, was accessibility, with kind of like having a moderate, not so good, PC with the power to be able to do so. It was limited to the point where I just couldn't do it. It was just really, really difficult to watch. Kind of like the Chicago Bulls or the Chicago Bears, or like the team that you want to root for, but they're just so bad to watch it, but you're forced to watch them anyway. And, that's kind of what really like kept me from being able to do anything. Like I said, especially last patch. Haven't gotten the opportunity to try on this upcoming patch, which I heard that there were some improvements that were made, but I definitely look forward to. But that's kind of what my experience has been, and just being adaptable is, I think, a resounding constant with what everyone is saying right now. So shout out to all of the content creators, whether you're live or you're on YouTube. We're doing it.
Yeah. That's a great thing that you're mentioning too, the technical aspects, because we haven't thought about that there are technical things that we have to deal with as content creators as well. So that's good stuff. Thank you. Jade.
Jade's on mute.
Jade's on mute. She might have stepped away. We can come back. Netronics.
Still here.
Oh,
But
you're
sorry
there?
about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So like, a lot of people basically said this. It's adaptability, right? For what we do, I mean, we're the hottest mix from a small rock in Nix from Delamar that doesn't exist anymore because it's not in the game, right? But it's also just having like that foresight of, well, these places all do exist in the Star Citizen universe, even as we as gamers don't have access to it. So it's taking whatever's going on, either player created or a lore piece from CIG or whatever, and turning that into content. To me, everything's content. Bugs are content. When there was that that thing at Levski where you couldn't get to the ASOP terminals, those of you that are around, remember, it was blocked. We made up a news story that there had been a mining collapse, right? Like, and that became content. So the whole thing with the soft death and being on a ship during soft death, I made that video. I didn't think it was going to blow up on Reddit. The same thing with dropping all the cargo, blowing up a C2 in the upper atmosphere and watching all the cargo fall down to test the cargo refactor and persistence. Like those kind of things, because of just, the nature of the game that's constantly changing. I wouldn't have been able to make that video or either of those videos until 318 PT. Well, yeah. So Jumptown, that like making the Is Jumptown Safe song, or Me and My Pisces, like I made those, right? That like that came from stuff that happened in the game from the community. And so if we as content creators look to the community as much as we looked at CIG for our resources to create content, I think that alleviates some of the pressure. That's all.
Good stuff. All right, thanks. Atronics.
Yeah, speaking in terms of Machinima, as if anyone's ever made Machinima in here, I know some of you have, you know, it's notoriously difficult. With the obstacles that all the obstacles the game presents, which there are many, I've actually found that embracing the changes and sort of finding the limitations of the game, it fosters creativity. Like in real life, budget restrictions and things like that foster creativity. And the fact that the game is imperfect, I find myself sort of improving Machinima, sort of making it up as I go based on what the game offers and provides. It's actually, I think, made my approach more creative because the game is limited and janky and broken. For example, sometimes a rec site in space will suddenly not be there that I might need to use. And so you have to find a clever way to sort of explain why it's not there anymore, or why Ava's armor has changed color suddenly. So I think it's sort of fun. It keeps you on your toes.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. All right, Pops in Space.
Yeah, I just like to, you know, we're a small group of people here, content creators. And I just like to really say having each other's back is very important. I first learned about the game. I hated this game, but I, you know, because I got the information from all the wrong places. I started watching board gamers videos.
That was the wrong place. I agree. No, I'm just kidding.
No, board gamer helped to change my opinion. I saw other content. I've been able to go to people like I've asked morphologists a question because I'm blind in my right eye. So I had a chance to ask him about the Tobii eye tracker, and he pointed me in the right direction, where to go and what to do. You may not know it directly from the community or other people, but you do mean a lot on what you do put out there, and it is very, very important. So if no one says it, at least we're saying it to each other.
Okay, thanks, Pops. Okay. Maiden Ariana.
I just wanted to say, I think one of the biggest challenges is kind of being a one-person production studio all by yourself. You know, you spend time doing the live streaming, and then you take a VOD and you spend probably far too many hours editing it down to the best parts for a YouTube video. And then you look at the actual analytics, and the average view time is like 3 minutes. And then YouTube itself is now pushing people to watch shorts and produce shorts. And it's a little frustrating with a game like Star Citizen, because for Star Citizen, almost every time you log in and play and a 30K doesn't kill what you're planning, it's a story you're building. It's something you're taking time to build up and have a big payoff for. And I think getting people to watch the entire thing on something like YouTube, or, you know, something that's not more of the long form entertainment is very challenging. And I think it's, you know, I tip my hat to everybody that can, or I tip my kitty ears to everyone that can spend all that time doing that and then not always see the benefit from it because it's tough. You know, and then you have the option of always of doing things like making a video of people just falling down the stairs with style in Star Citizen, and it's still funny and people still enjoy it. So it's like, you know, what we do is kind of interesting. It's just you can get people to enjoy your content many different ways, but yeah, I think the trend towards short form videos is a big challenge right now for all of us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Maiden. Execute.
I kind of wanted to go towards the end, but of course, Board Gamer stole my thunder, but that's fine. Long story short, but I did write down a lot of things that people said here, and I kind of want to go over some of them. And
you got 1 minute now.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going to make it very brief. So I'm just going to cut to the key points. Obviously, really early on, I didn't want to rely on CIG for content because I've done game development before. I knew how slow it was going to be. And one of the best ways we've tackled that is actually multiple content creators. So, and kind of like, forgot the gentleman who said it, sorry, but working with and being non-adversarial to each other is actually a huge boon to us all. So I recommend that. And if you need help, I'm telling you right now, reach out to me, I'll help you. And I can tell you, people in this room, they will help you as well. So if you are having trouble, reach out, because we're all in this together, believe it or not. And then lastly, I think you kind of want to strike a balance. And what I mean by that is between negative and positive content. If you go too one way or the other, you got to run out of content. And I think that's the ones that other people hadn't hit on. So I'll kind of leave the rest. But thank you.
Oh, thank you. Those are great closing words. And I'm going to get to board. I will say this about Execute. I couldn't stand him because he doesn't talk like origin ships. But no, I'm just kidding.
Well, no canic for taste there, is there?
But no, let me tell you something. He has been such a wonderful guy, and anytime he's always hitting me messages saying, "Griff, if you need something, let me know. I'm there for you." He's been keeping in touch. And Execute, thank you, because he rallied some folks together for us for today, even. So thank you for that, and thank you for re-sparking and the idea about us doing this for the content creators. Let's see. Let me get certified. You've been up already, right? Because I want to get on to the next topic. I got a giveaway. I'm gonna let you talk. I just wanted to know. Kitty hasn't been up. Board, why don't I let you go ahead and get in? Go ahead, Board.
Oh yeah. So for me, there's so much that you could potentially do as a content creator and for content, and it's knowing what to do that I find the problem, but also having the motivation to do it. Because I could learn to be really good at low flying, but there's already a load of other people that are much better than me, and I don't have as much interest in it. But I mean, there's so much. We've got such a diversity of content creators here now. There's so much to do in game, and I'm talking just from if you're just covering the game from a development point of view, there's always new stuff. There's always sort of stuff that Cloud Imperium are putting out. For me, as long as the community's there. And I think the best thing about Star Citizen is the community and then the game development, oddly. It's always going to be things for content creators to do. And as long as you can motivate yourself to do something, as long as you can see, well, actually, I don't have to constantly do this particular type of content. I don't have to do this or this or this. I shouldn't put myself in a box. I should actually expand out to other things. Well, there's always going to be something for you to do.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Certified Gumbo.
Hey, okay, so yeah, I realized that I didn't actually answer the question in my initial response, but as a content creator, like I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on at Certified Gumbo is just focusing on content we actually want to create. And I have the same approach with Star Citizen. Like the algorithm hates us for it, but at the end of the day, like I need to enjoy the actual process of creating content. So yeah, there's my answer. That's all I wanted to say.
No, that's very cool. And that's going to actually be a lead in for our next topic right after this. So thanks for sharing that. And last but not least, Catastrophic.
I kind of feel like we should have gone the other way around because that was a beautiful segue. I do kind of feel like the outlier of the group because I've been playing since November last year and that's it. In terms of the constant change, for me being this new to the game, everything that like there's always something to do. The thing that I find most interesting is when the community will hop into stream and tell me stuff like, oh my god, you should have been here when we had fish tanks and our own hangars, you know, because it's that kind of depth that like they've lived through and I haven't. But in terms of making content when changes are only constant, I don't feel like I'm experiencing the depth of loss that a lot of the other content creators here are, simply because I'm that new, but everything's new and everything's shiny and everything's broken. So for that, in that sense, for me it makes good content because I mean my channel name is Catastrophic, right, which comes from catastrophic. Everything goes wrong. So in a game where everything goes wrong, there's a lot of content for me.
Okay, awesome. Well, Catastrophic, welcome. And that is a good segue to our next section here. We're going to do some giveaways because you guys always give away stuff and nobody gives you anything. So we're going to do a giveaway for you all, okay? But this is kind of a weird giveaway. So, you know, I can tell you now, 99% of y'all not going to get nothing today. All right, so here's the first thing, okay? Who has been streaming here less than 2 years? 2 years. If you have, raise your hand. Raise your hand in the thingy. Put your thingy hand up.
Is that streaming or content creation? Because
content creation. I'm sorry, content creation. I don't care what it is you do. Machinima, whatever it is you do. If you've been doing something less than 2 years, raise your hand. All right.
So everyone from Soul Citizens is not eligible,
yeah,
right?
Soul Citizens, you're not eligible. No, do not put anything in here. All right. Okay. Whoa, we got a few people. All right. Damn. If you've been doing content creation for less than 1 year, you need to drop out if it's more than 1 year.
Ooh. Does it count when you started your channel? Because I mean, I would put videos out here and there, but really nothing dedicated.
It has to be produced out somewhere for people to see it.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you're making videos and looking at them at home, it doesn't count. Okay. Okay, we're down to 5. If you've been doing content less than 9 months, your hand should stay up. Less than 6 months, your hand should stay up. Wow. Less than 5 months, your hand should stay up. Less than 4 months, your hand should stay up.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I had a feeling that we had a winner.
Way to go. All right, Catastrophic. You are the proud winner of
a new car. No, wait.
A brand new car.
The Slipstream Racing Pack paint. All the paints for the new vehicles, that cool blue. You're going to get that for you. Okay.
Congrats, Catastrophic.
Totally rigged, but thank you.
That's to encourage you to buy.
How do you call it?
So please send Fastcart your RSI rather.
RSI email
and
Zoom cat.
Okay, so we can get that out to you. Okay, congratulations on that.
Congrats.
Let's see. What are we doing on our time? Oh, we're doing okay. All right, let's go ahead and transition into our next one. We'll have some more giveaways coming up.
Oh, wait, real quick. Kitty, make sure you DM me. Don't put it in public.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go to our next subject. And again, don't forget, if you want to stream this, feel free and stream it. We want to remind that because there are people who are watching us, believe it or not. Session 2, called Thrills and Spills of Making Content. Okay, I'm gonna give you 4 things to think about. The fun, the views, the money, the fame. Most of us started out with that very first one, the fun. But eventually you get sucked into the other ones. After you've been doing it for fun, all of a sudden you start noticing people are watching you. Wow, I'm getting views. That's pretty cool, you know? And then if you start getting enough views, you start realizing, oh, well, there's revenue here. I can make a couple bucks. And then if you've been doing it for a little while, all of a sudden people start saying, hey, when you're at the grocery store, hey, aren't you morphologist? You know, something like that. Like the fame starts to come, right? So
never happened.
Yeah.
Yet.
So as a content creator, you know, how do you deal with all of these? And you can pick whichever one you want to pick. You know, how do you deal with it? You know, is it still fun for you? Do you feel like sometimes you've forgotten the fun because someone mentioned earlier the amount of work that goes behind it? Does it become a chore? Do you find yourself wrestling with the analytics? You know, that all of a sudden you start realizing I'm just, you know, I'm only getting people watching me for 7 minutes out of my 1 hour video. How do you deal with these aspects here? The fun, the views, the money, the fame, the money and the fame. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. Papadopoulos, you're up.
Yo, so let me tell you something. When I first started streaming Star Citizen, right, it was everyone from Elite Dangerous was like, ew, you're streaming Star Citizen. But then after we kind of all just started to turn into this melting pot of, hey, I'm really enjoying what you're doing and I want to, you know, tag along. And things just kind of like started building from there slowly. And like in a week's time, I was almost averaging just as much as with Elite Dangerous. And I don't suffer from a lot of the things that everyone else suffers from when they say, I don't care about analytics and stuff like that. Like, I don't, they care about the numbers and what they don't see. I want to see things because it helps me to know how I can do things better. And I'm a serial hobbyist. So there's not just always change in Star Citizen, but I'm always changing. It is difficult for me to communicate a lot of those changes. So so at the end of the day, yeah, you can make a few bucks, but Star Citizen is an amazing community that's really tight knit, and everyone really helps everyone. But dealing with all of that, I just really focus on the fun at the end of the day and create moments for everyone that joins in, whether it's for a limited amount of time or it's for until like maybe I stream something else or whatever. But that's really how to take it. It's just to be as adaptable emotionally as you are creatively. And I think that's how I take that challenge in stride.
So fun is still at the top of the list for you. Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Real quick, Griffin. People in chat or Zoom chat want to know if it's all four or you want to pick just one.
You can pick one, you can pick one or two. I'm just kind of curious as to which ones for you are the ones you do. When I say fame, please don't take fame as an ego thing. I mean, fame may be just the fact that people acknowledge the fact that, they dig what you do. Or I'm not kidding. Somebody might bump into you at the grocery store. I was on a cruise a couple of weeks ago and some guys were on there and I was standing in the pizza line and I heard these guys talking about Star Citizen. I'm like, what the heck? And I wanted to go talk to them afterward. I mean, I don't know if I knew they didn't know me but anyway, I'm just saying you might bump into somebody like that who says, hey, I've seen your video on so-and-so, and did that make you feel good? Maybe it did, there's nothing wrong with that. If it made you feel good, somebody say, I really appreciate what you do. Maybe it's when you're at a Citizen Con, something like that. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next one. Thank you. Leaf.
Hi. Yeah, this is, I don't know how you expect most of us to answer this in a minute, because this is a really interesting one to talk about. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, most of us are going to say fun. I mean, you have to love what you're doing immediately. But very quickly, I feel like a lot of people can fall into this trap too of, it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I got more into the YouTube analytics. How does this thumbnail test to this thumbnail, this title? How do I start my first 10 seconds to 30 seconds of a video? And it became more of a production love than anything. But then with that, I started to understand, okay, my audience is reacting to this instead of this. Now I'm trapped into making this kind of content. And that is, I think, an inevitability of YouTube, is that you do have to find the niche within the niche. I've tried doing news videos. There's already plenty of you guys making great videos. My audience didn't want that, so I stepped away from that. Even though I want to make that, and I found that sometimes you have to just make a whole separate YouTube channel. I actually did that so I can make videos for other games. I have like 3 YouTube channels going now because YouTube is so niche in the niche. So you almost have to fall into the trap of making content for a specific audience and missing out on some of the fun. But again, I think making another YouTube channel to experiment with that is a way to get around getting stuck in that niche of a niche. And if you find you're getting just worn out from doing that one thing.
Okay, that's great. That's a great suggestion. Thanks. Pops in Space.
Yeah. Well, this started out for us. My son came up with an idea. Let's do a remix of Pedro's main theme. And we did it. And it was put underneath another org. And we got written up in the article by Star Citizen. We got a message from an old friend saying, hey, look, you guys got a write-up. And it was fun. And that was the very start. And that was great. That made us feel good. We got to meet a lot of people. Paul, Star Jump, which I really like to say, really thank you, Star Jump, for setting us off on this adventure with CIG, because my son's caught a bug from it, but thank you. But it's been about the fun. I've gotten to meet some wonderful, wonderful people from Soul Citizens, Black Sky Legion, Kai, Boss Lady, all of us. We, hang out, and this has been a great adventure for me, meeting people. So it's been about fun, and it's been a great, great adventure.
Okay, thank you, Pops. Jade?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, it's always been about fun. I always like to remind people, this is a game, right? Like we're here to have fun. At least the people that get involved with this stuff I tend to do. I think we're all driven by that passion of let's create something that's fun. Let's have fun while we're creating it. Um, let's have fun with the community. I loved being part of like she's not here right now, but like Authie's Adventures cruises, that kind of just fun, immersive content. So for me, fun is a big thing. But on the other hand, I run a radio station, which has costs. Like I gotta license stuff. I gotta like pay a subscription to make sure our stuff is on. We stream both on Twitch and not YouTube, Twitch and Mixcloud Live 24/7. So there's a cost involved in that. Running Shoutcast service, there's a cost involved in all that. So it's hard not to look at your analytics, and my friends call it stat stalking, right? I don't like to get into the stat stalking because it can be such a demotivator when you're like, damn, I made a Platinum Bay commercial, I made 10 other immersive commercials, and my numbers aren't going up. No, you got to always refocus it back to fun, because what I've noticed is that that's a lagging indicator when your numbers quite off. I mean, you're all different because a lot of you are streaming the game, but for us, it's a lagging indicator. The more effort we put in, we might not see that effort reflected in stats for like a month, So it's always got to be about the passion that you had for originally, at least for me, originally getting involved. And then like you, Griff, when you walked me into Soul Citizens, like up until then, I don't think anybody like ever really, like said, hey, oh, I know you. But now all the time when I'm in like Star Citizen, somebody's like, are you Jade from Soul Citizens? I'm like, yeah. So I don't know, hopefully they don't shoot me, but whatever. Because they like Origin, or they don't like Origin ships, but yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jade. All right, more.
Isn't Paul in front of me?
Nope, not on my sheet. Everybody's number page can be a little different. So you're in front of her. You're in front of Paul for me. Paul's after you.
Okay,
all
that's
right.
fine. I'm going with that.
All right. Well, I'm in it obviously for the money. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I wouldn't lie. I don't want to, lie and say that money and analytics don't matter at all. Of course they do. I mean, and some of us depend on the income for our livelihood, but I definitely wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it. I mean, there are definitely other games I could be making content on, and I've found that I could make other video content on other games. Like I made a video on Cyberpunk that got like 1 million views this year. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to say I wouldn't be doing content on Star Citizen if I wasn't absolutely in love with it. And so that is why that's my primary reason for continually making content on a game that everyone says is a scam and says I'm like part of the pyramid scheme and stuff. So it's whatever, but when it comes to like the fame and stuff, I try not to think about it because it's you start to get I start to get like imposter syndrome, and I start to put pressure on myself to try to live up to those expectations. And then it just ends up making me feel like, my stuff's not good enough. And you won't get caught in that trap if I can give any advice, because it just kind of distracts you from what matters. And that's, doing what you enjoy and pushing yourself to be good enough for yourself. I don't know how else best to say that, but so yeah. I mean, I hope I answered the question. You were talking about the fame, the money, the fun, right? So
no, I'm glad you shared that there's a little bit of that. And even with Jade, sometimes, I mean, it's so easy to come and say, oh, it's all about the fun. Yeah, we're having fun, blah, 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 blah. But there are realities that you all are dealing with as content streamers. One of those realities is that CIG is paying all of you, and I expect 10% of that by the end of the show. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm ordered by Chris to sell you
right.
more chips.
Yeah, the rumors of what people think about what, that we're all on the payroll still blows my mind. Anyway, thank you, Morph. Paul, you're next.
So this is something I constantly struggle with all the time, because there's a difference between making something for fun and making something for profit. But I think there's also kind of a bridge between the two. I think a lot of people have been saying. For me, it's not about, is something worth the money, or like, can I make most money off of it? It's more of, I want to make something that's good, that I'd like to do, but can also grow my audience, that can most people can come in. I think it's a balance of those two. You know, and that's the key. And I think the number one thing that I've had to learn to do is don't look at other people's numbers. Because if you look at your number and you compare it to somebody who is even you think is your peer, you will go insane. Don't look into other people's bowls. Just look at your own bowl and focus on what you can do better. Because if you start comparing yourself, you will get into this downward spiral of I'm just terrible. I'm not good at this. And you reset that problem. And then sometimes when you jump up, you're like, yeah, this feels really good. And then you get that imposter syndrome of like, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I am a terrible content creator. What am I doing? So you have to keep that balance. That's what it is.
You know, I'm glad that I took a second to reflect on what you said, because I almost thought you said don't look at other people's balls, and I got a little nervous. I do appreciate
don't do that too, but
my safe
You
word
weren't
is
the only one,
teacup
Griffin. You
ball.
weren't the only one.
You're not my real mom. I'll do what I want.
All right, thank you, Paul. Face to face.
Hey, like my dad said, we got into this for the purpose of fun. I purposely, and my dad, we purposely keep it as fun. Even on my Twitch page, I don't even have the subscription button activated for personal reasons. So basically for me, the reasoning why I keep it as fun, you know, it's more of a thing for me as a I guess what I'm trying to say is like a mental thing, because I know that if I start to get into the analytics, like you guys said, then I'll start to, you know, oh man, did these people like this? Did they like this? And, you know, and I start to, you know, is there something in my ear?
Yeah, hang on a second.
And then you get in a huddle, say, we're all right. You just missed open shots. Just keep playing.
Missed open
can't
shots.
miss open
Whoa,
shots.
You can't miss open shots.
You just
My
can't.
goodness.
Oh,
Practice.
God. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's the reason why is because, you know, I think of it from me from a mental standpoint. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
You know, the analytics of trying to worry about, you know, my numbers and stuff like that. So when, you know, whenever we put out the content out there, I just put it out there. And if you like it, you like it. You don't, you know, and I keep it like that.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you, Fist. Calamitous.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I was muted. I think I actually fell in on a really good spot on this conversation because there was some bigger fish above me. Jade and Morphologist talked about the, you know, cost of operation. Me being a smaller channel, I learned real quick that, you know, when people start showing up, that you want to make things better for them. And, you know, equipment's not cheap. I you know, like most Americans out there, I'm barely getting by, but I realized that streaming Star Citizen, I might need a dual PC setup because Star Citizen is a hog on resources. So I had to buy a streaming PC. You know, just little things like that. When you talk about the giveaways, like some of us are, you mentioned it, Griff, we're not on the payroll. Like CIG does not know who I am, so all my giveaways come from my subs, you know, like they donate and then I give that money right back and donate it to my subs, my channels, my viewers. So yeah, you know, money, fun is always the first thing, but money does become a reality, and you can't ignore it, you know. So it's a real thing.
Yeah. And to your point, I was amazed that as we started doing this, I was streaming something before I started doing Soul Citizens, and once I started doing this, you know, the people on my team will tell you I'm like Mr. Perfection. I want our production quality and everything we do to be just representing the community very well.
Exactly.
And so that stream deck, or, you know, going from the 15 button one to the 25 button one, or the doggone Go XLR, and, you know, all these things
exactly. I just picked
like,
up the Go XLR and all that, you know what I mean? So like all that, it adds up real quick. And you know, a lot of people don't realize that. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thanks, Calamitous. Good stuff. Miss 25.
So if anybody's ever been to John and I's channel, you probably know that we don't do it for the views. But it's interesting with the money part here, because we tend to take all the money, the very modest amount of money that we make, and we end up turning it around and giving it back to all of our viewers because we do random giveaways all the time. So, and that's kind of one of our things is we're not in it for the money. We're not in it for the views. We're not in it for the fame. But speaking of fame, last night we were at Bar Citizen in Denver, right? And so Jawa, myself, and some other people, and Jake Acapella from CIG was there. We run into him, we're saying hello, and he's like, "You guys are fisting Jawa," and we're like, "You know who we are?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." I mean, not that it's his job, but just the fact that he's like, you know, "Thank you for what you do," and it kind of blew us both away. We were like, okay, so CIG knows we exist, and that's pretty awesome. But then at the end, when we were leaving, who do we run into? Dig That shows up to the event, and we're like, wait a minute, that's Dig. And then it's like, oh my, and then we're starstruck. We're like, well, let's get selfies, and you know, and I made him do some kind of weird video where he does his little taglines, and so those different aspects of it are so neat and cool. Like first time I was on Captain's Table, I was blown away. I'm like, oh my god, there's Astropub. So I know no one's talked about that yet, but at the end of the day, it's still about the fun and having fun and playing with my brother over there and doing what you like to do.
Awesome.
So
we're glad you guys had a good time. I saw the picture you guys took with Jake last night. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Nazareth.
Or I had notes for this time, so to keep it short. So apparently I'm bad at content creating. So I've been doing this for 7 years and still haven't gotten the monetization on YouTube. But the main reason I do it, I think out of all four, the one reason I don't have on this list for me is fame. I don't care about that. The primary reason I do YouTube, do content, is to entertain and to lift the spirits of people. Like I've always had content creators where like I watch them and like they've gotten me through sad days, depression, and all this other thing. I want to be there to help people like that. And actually quite recently, last week, I believe it was, that I decided I'm going to focus on Star Citizen only. And my goal is to this into living off of content creation so that I can do this because it is something fun I can do. And as far as like analytics, I love playing the numbers game. I love seeing the analytics, tweaking things. But I also echo everything Paul said.
Nice. Good stuff. Thanks, Nazareth. Petronics.
Yeah, fun for me in terms of Machinima is, you know, that feeling of inspiration. And even though when things are hard, you're still at the end of the day enjoying what you do. And I call it having the lightning bolt. In order to do anything like Machinima or anything significant like a lot of you guys are doing, you have to have that energy and that passion to do it. So I'd say that it sounds like most of us, including myself, do it because ultimately it's fun. And what's more fun is about that is that, you know, people have come to me about Machinima stuff and helping them and encouraging them and boosting them and their Machinima and their stories and their characters, and then doing crossover stuff. It's like fun has led to more fun and more fun. And now we have HubNet. It's just like fun all around. So it's definitely all about the fun for me.
Okay, nice. Old man Johnny Morgan.
Thank you. The fun side of it for me definitely comes from the organic interactions in the game. So one of the pieces that I'm most proud of is the conversation I put together between Katie and Space Cutlet around our Jumptown interaction. So from that interaction in the game, this is why I really enjoy the dynamic events. Xeno is still by far my favorite because you get this very cooperative action interactions in the game. I made a bunch of content around it very easily. But that one, I really enjoyed that we had an interaction game and then was able to bring these two people together and have a really great conversation that we then got feedback from CIG that it did influence their decisions on the small ground vehicles to have the signature reduced, right? So they had this example of the gameplay and then the conversation around it. And I asked Cutlet beforehand, right, try to avoid getting to the developer weeds. Don't necessarily focus on telling them what they should do, but tell them what your goal was, what your jobs you're doing, and like kind of what the pain points and gains that you're looking from the interaction from, instead of just trying to cut the grass. I kind of try to bring that a little bit in my content and conversation. The views, definitely, I like the dopamine hit when something goes off. Oh, baby! That's where the addiction to YouTube comes from. My God, man. Like, I had a short pop off, especially so you get some promoted stuff, right? Katie's been great. She's promoted a couple of my stuff. Those have popped off. That piece that I'm talking about, I actually produced for Cutlet and it went onto his channel, right? And it was the last piece of content that he had before all the stuff in Ukraine kicked off. So it sat on his channel as the last piece there. And that felt really interesting. That was a really weird thing. And I loved it. Like, I loved that I was involved in that. And then he came back, thank God, right? Touch wood. And he was okay. And so I don't want to land on so long. The fame side of it, though, is inside the game world. I've been recognized mostly from being on Salty Mike's podcast, right? Like, I don't show my face. And I do some live streaming a bit on YouTube. Like, I'll do some of the event stuff. I do Thunderdome, which is like a 3v3 PvP tournament, but it's like a house league, right? Like your basketball league style, right? Stuff. So very accessible, randomized draft type thing. Haven't been doing it, waiting for the flight model to 318, right? We'll kick it back up. We do the skunk stuff, right? Skunkopoly, which is the combined.
Your time's running out.
The fame side of it, I love being recognized in the world. I don't really care outside of it, but when I meet someone inside, I'm like, oh, I know who you are, and they have an expectation of how I'll interact with them. It's really fun. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. No, I appreciate the fact that you tried to hit some of those different subjects, because again, fun, I think we all get, but I am curious about the wrestling with those other areas we talked about, or if there's any wrestling at all. But thank you, old man Johnny Morgan. Let Nap.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I kind of have a fifth category on that for me, and it's kind of art. And for me, that's because people that know me in real life, actually, I was kind of surprised by this, but I actually have an art degree. So I'm a slightly practicing studio artist as well. So this was a natural slide for me to start making content, and it was kind of accidental really to begin with. Just, oh, you made something, and then, oh, a couple people wanted to see it. So I think that then funnels into views, because, it wasn't wrong. When something pops off, that excitement is there. And I remember when I got my first 100 subscribers or first 100 views. And then I remember when I would get 100 views in an hour, 1,000 views in an hour. Those don't happen all the time. So that, that piece of it there as something that happens, but there's no money here. I tell people that all the time. My wife's a school teacher and they all want to be YouTubers, and I laugh because they're sure that we're rolling in the money. And it's like, I operate the channel on a loss. Once you only use royalty-free music till your first strike, and then you never use royalty-free music again. So licensing, equipment, software, that all starts to add up. The nice side is I, get it back on my taxes. And so it's nice because then I get to brag that I can buy ships in Star Citizen and write them off on my taxes as a work expense. But, have yet to find that fame one. And I'll just kind of close on this, that not so much like Hollywood fame, but it is nice when you pop into a Discord server, or, you're doing something in the verse and you talk on chat and someone says, oh, hey, I love your content. And there's, that kind of helps push you through. And, really, I think the fame piece, though, for me, is just being here, right? Is, hey, there's a content creator summit. And I mean, I got your email, which was nice. And that's how I first found out. But I got like 20 DMs on Discord of, oh, did you see this on Spectrum? Make sure you sign up. And then but to be included in a group like this is the kind of like, there's, that's kind of the fame element, that being a voice in the community of voices for the community. So
good stuff. Thank you, Letnap. Thank you. Digital Master Gaming.
Yes, sir. So I love what everyone has actually been saying. It resonates with me. But for me specifically, I still have a full-time career, so in the cloud space. But to tie that in, I do training there. So that sort of comes off into my videos. I really enjoy helping new players come into the game, but also like educating them on things that I feel pretty strong about, and that's the fun for me. And then the process too. And I love the metrics actually from YouTube specifically, because I like numbers, right? So I actually have a lot of fun looking at that, but I totally agree with a lot of what other people have been saying, like Paul, like not looking across the aisle. Like, there's no reason to do that. Like, look at your metrics, because YouTube is telling you exactly why you're getting the views you're getting on each individual video. So you can kind of go back and sort of look at all that and determine, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How can I replicate the success of this video? How can I avoid, or what can I do better about this video that didn't do so well? Did I release it at the wrong time? Is it just irrelevant topic at at this particular time. There's so many things you can find out just by looking at the YouTube metrics, just for your own content, you know, and instead of looking and comparing, because, you know, honestly, the way the YouTube algorithm works, I don't think that's productive anyway, you know, even if you were to take that approach. But at the end of the day, I still have fun. It's not about the money, because YouTube does not pay well at all, and definitely not about the fame.
Yeah.
You know,
Ninja
I'm
Master,
not in for the fame.
If you want to get more views and stuff, start doing this.
Right. With the thumbnails, right? Yes,
Starting you
exactly.
straight. You'll make
That's
plenty
how
of money.
you.
Don't worry.
That's how you get people to start looking at the video, right? Making these
All
weird
right.
faces. But yeah.
Thanks a lot,
It's all
man.
about the fun for me. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Loud Guns.
Yeah, I think we've established most of us are in it for the fun, but just on the like different take on the whole fame thing, I think one of the coolest things is when somebody tells you, you know, thank you, this helped me make my first 1 million credits. And there are so many great content creators doing tutorial type gameplay. You know, like, and it crosses all types of the loops, like, you know, Jack Axton with his trade, Mongrel Squad like agents with his piracy. You know, and you just know there's no tutorial for that. It exists in the game. So those players who do it often rely on content creators. And the thing on the money, while like, yeah, YouTube doesn't pay an awful lot of money, the thing which is amazing is sort of the amount of charity money which has been raised through this community. Like sort of Star Jump, I've done a lot of that. I've done a couple of charity streams, which it just amazed me how much response there is to that. So might have stopped a few ship sales at IAE, though, so Chris might not be too happy. But, yeah.
That's good stuff. Those are good things to point out, especially the charity piece. Thank you, Loud Guns. Kelsar.
Nap just said, I think we've established fun is a big thing. For me, this is a bit of an accident. like, you know, I was traveling quite often, and when, you know, the whole virus that shall not be named happened, I stopped doing that, and I kind of found myself watching Twitch a lot. Like, I had never really watched Twitch ever, and it really like resonated with me. Like, I am a bit of a creative type, and I kind of decided to do that. But one thing that really like pushed me to want to stream is that I wanted to like not really inform people as much as encourage them. Like, hey, look, I'm a noob too. And yes, I've been playing for a couple years now, but if I can do it, you can do it, you know? And that's kind of like my type of thing on my stream is like, okay, I'm a racer, but hey, I'm not a pro racer, like, but I'm going to get there sometime, and you guys can come along with me, or, you know, if I can do it, like I said, you can do it, right?
And yeah, are you still in the fame area? You don't worry about the analytics or anything yet? That's not something that really focuses for you? You're really just enjoying helping people? Is that where you are right now?
That's where I'm at now. I will admit, as soon as I became affiliate, I had a tiny stream deck, like the original one. And immediately I said, oh crap, now I got to do all these things because now people are subscribing. So I had to invest more. But I have to admit, as soon as I became affiliate and started looking at some of the numbers, I was like, whoa, like this is it kind of feels good. But that kind of faded, like, you know, after 2 months, you know. So I do look at it to kind of gauge what my viewers resonate with. Like, okay, I was playing this at this time. I actually look at the hour and I look at the VODs, and I'm like, that they don't like that. Like it doesn't seem like that resonate with them. So I try to analyze these things and the numbers, not so much for the money, but on how I can make my content better.
Okay.
And that's all I really do. And I mean, I do have a full-time job. I only stream on the weekends. So I do this as a hobby, as fun. And I hope that my fun translates to the viewers and they have fun along with me, you know?
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Kelsar. All righty. Boss Lady, B.
So I'm going to tag on to the end of Qualsar right there, which is, as a content creator, I think all four of those things, there's cycles. I feel like we start out with fun, we get into the analytics. As a scientific person, I love seeing what sticks, what doesn't. But the biggest piece for me has always been engagement, whether I had 0 people in chat or, you know, 12,000. How the viewers are engaging and the conversations that happen between the chat and the content is like gold. Like when everything meshes, when I'm having a good day, when the chat's having a good day, when something funny happens in the game, and that like beautiful synergy happens is amazing. Now, on the fame side, this is going to sound really weird, but actually the more I got known in the elite community, the more like self-conscious I felt, because I like to be a viewer. I like to support other content creators, and I don't want attention when I'm in the chat. And so it's like, I actually started to feel really weird when I'd pop in and everybody be like, oh, hi boss, like, hi boss. I'm like, no, watch the streamer. You know, I don't want to actually be the center of attention. I want to be here asking questions and let the other person shine. So it's a weird thing to say, but it's like sometimes being known. So being in Star Citizen has been great because I can just go undercover. No one knows me and I just get to be a viewer, and it's awesome. So
okay, cool. All right, thank you, boss lady. Hey, it's Nick. Welcome,
hello. So I would say that mine, my favorite thing about Star Citizen is mostly touching on mostly the fun and the fame. I think it's a balance of both. I mean, my personal view on Twitch is, and also content creation, I'm personally not focused on making money at all. It's more like a side thing, especially compared to my full-time job. It's very volatile and I can't really commit to creating content like as much as other people can. However, I feel like the mesh between having fun and the community of Star Citizen and having that fame and interaction among so many people is so great, especially when you get that interaction in game and they recognize your name. And when you're someone like me, I play with a lot of other content creators on their streams in the background. So I'm not always making my own content. I'm also playing with other content creators while they're making their own content. So I'm getting recognized in a lot of different places. And it's kind of that weird interaction where it's just like, oh, I know you from that way. I'm like, oh, wait, you know me? What? Like you recognize my name? Like I'm not a big known name around, but there's a lot of people that just know me from all these little pockets everywhere. And that interaction of just like, oh, that person knows me from that person. And then it's just like all these interconnected community and having the fun in the game with all those people at the same time. It doesn't really feel like fame. It feels more like a community that you're creating. And it doesn't really feel like an audience member. It feels more like a part of your stream, your content. And it's just, I feel like that's my favorite part of Star Citizen, creating Star Citizen content, is like being able to actually create content with all these other people as well.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Good stuff. Space Tech.
Yeah, so it's absolutely all about the fun. Obviously, it's easier for me to not care about money and fame when I don't have either of them. But I think there's a myriad of other games that would do a lot better for you if what you were really interested in was fame and money. That being said, I find fun in like providing value to whoever spent the time to click on my video. Like what I found works for me is that folks enjoy concision and providing bang for buck in terms of their time. And so that's an example of something that is analytics and numbers driven, but I think creators as a whole enjoy providing value, and analytics are just a way to help you to do that better.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah,
thank you, Space Tech.
That's what I feel about it.
Okay. CEO Silas.
Hey. All right. So I think Morphologist hit it pretty well as far as when you start hitting some of those key moments, it's hard to ignore all of it at the same time. You kind of have to pay attention to the different aspects of all of it, especially when you are either aspiring to make this a full-time career or already at that point where you're wanting to maintain that career. But at the same time, Boss Lady B made a great point, and it was something that I had wrote down on paper, and I thought it was great that she, capitalized on it. For me personally, it kind of came in cycles. At first, it started off as only as fun. Nobody, knew any idea who I was, what I was doing, my intentions. Slowly you kind of start growing, and as an analytical person, I start paying attention to the data, and I got lost in that data for a while. And it was so weird because between a great support system here at the home, a strong and supportive community that I have built up with the community, I was slowly able to bring that back. And it was like I went from getting lost to the analytics and came back to just the fun. But the things that I learned getting lost in the analytics helped me kind of have fun, but at the same time find ways to capitalize and help the community continue to grow.
Nice. Thank you. Let's see, Smithy Bob.
Hey,
Yeah, so I've been at this for about a year and a half, like
Mhm.
like doing content creation for Star Citizen specifically, and like actually doing like a proper run at it.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, like it's kind of funny, like hearing Morph talk about like imposter syndrome or whatever, right? Like I've been watching Morph since like he did like Space Engineer stuff like way back, and like I just got my like first Twitch payout like 3 weeks ago. Around the same time, Griff sent me a message like, "Oh, hey, come to this thing." I'm like, "Okay." But like, yeah, I really started streaming because like I'm a busy adult. I have no time for anything. So like if I made dedicated time,
Mhm.
that's what streaming is for. Also like ADHD, like if I don't make something a habit, like
Mhm.
it's not going to happen, right?
Mhm.
Like I've got like notebooks of like ideas for like content that I want to work on, but like no time. Like
Yeah.
I would love to make more stuff,
Yeah.
but
It's a
yeah, no,
wrestle.
it's
Time is always a wrestle, right?
Yeah.
That's always an issue. Yeah. Okay. All
but
right,
again,
Smith.
yeah, it's all about the fun and
Cool.
the ride, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
No worries.
All righty. Catastrophic.
Same as everybody else. I do it for the fun. I've never been in this for the money or the fame. Like some of the other guys have mentioned, I work outside of streaming, and I never wanted streaming to be a full-time job for me, because I think, especially seeing the struggles that some of the full-time streamers go through, just trying to make ends meet every month, I didn't want to knowingly put myself in that position. But when we were talking earlier about switching the concept of fame around, there's something really nice about going into somebody's stream as a smaller streamer, not necessarily, you know, the issues that Boss Lady has, but being recognized as part of the community in general. Not like, oh, hey, you should check out this streamer, but that like warm welcome, you know, that goes a long way in making you feel part of the community. And so in that sense, it's really nice. I watch a lot of Star Citizen streamers when I'm not playing it. And so having that warmth, it's a really welcoming community. It's amazing. And you know, I think I mentioned in the chat earlier, I would be lost if it wasn't for people either streaming Star Citizen or more experienced players coming into my stream, or answering questions in other people's streams about how the hell you play this thing, how do you take off, how do you do this, how do you do that. So that kind of the warmth of being recognized, I think, is a normal human reaction, but not necessarily chasing like the fame and fortune kind of fame.
Okay, thank you. Good stuff. Next up, Montoya.
Hey, okay, everyone wake up. See people dozing off there already. So I missed your question because I went upstairs to get a drink, but I think I get the gist of it.
Yeah, there were 4 things. Let me go through real quick. There were 4 things.
Yeah.
We start with fame. What did I say it was again? I forgot myself. I was doing myself here. We start out with fun. Yeah, fun. The views.
Yeah.
Then money, and then fame. And how do you balance those? Where are you in relation to those? And anyone would pick you want to talk about?
Let me start with the fame thing. I think is interesting, and I don't know if it's because I'm a Gen Xer, but the whole concept of someone being internet famous, and I get it, but it's still kind of weird to me. I don't know if you older guys feel the same way, because when we grew up, celebrities were Hollywood stars, and then now if you are on YouTube and you're famous, my kids will treat Brad Pitt or whoever the star is the same as any YouTube star. And for me, that's kind of weird. I understand it, but I don't kind of get it in that sense. And it was in, what CitizenCon was in LA? Was it 2016? Was that the one?
Yeah, 2016.
I was at CitizenCon 2016, and a guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, you're Montoya." And I go, "Yes." And he goes, "Can you sign this?" And he hands me this Star Citizen kind of book and hands me a marker. And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, you Montoya, right?" And I go, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, sign my book." And I'm like, okay, he's asking me for an autograph. And I go, so I'm signing it. And I go, this is weird, man. And I hand it back to him, and his face started looking so disappointed, and I felt bad. But I was like, that is weird. Like, why is he asking me for that? And you know, I still kind of come to grips with the fact that people look at internet. It's not that I'm an internet celebrity, but look at influencers. Is that the word? And kind of put them on the same pedestal as more famous people. It's kind of a weird concept to me still. But yeah, I mean, that's where we are. That's where it's going. And like I said, my younger kids don't differentiate between an actor or a famous YouTuber or a big TikToker. It's the same thing to them. So here we are.
The fame piece. Let me say this, Montoya, you say that was weird. At least that guy came up to you with a book. Paul will come up to you with a helmet and ask you to sign it. All right. So, you know, it all depends on how you want to look at what's weird out here. Okay.
And I just want to say quickly, Montoya, the same guy got me in 2016. I think he got everybody. So yeah, it's not just you.
Oh, okay. So I'm not that special. That we know, right? Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Montoya.
Well, I'm not finished.
Oh, well, hurry up. We only get 1 minute.
No, go ahead. We're good.
Okay. Joe Run. There's the helmet. Look, Paul's showing it to you. There it is.
The space helmet. It's famous.
There it is.
That is famous.
Got all the
I'm
signatures.
more famous than Paul. Yeah, that that's an interesting perspective there, Montoya. This whole community fame thing for us older people. I starting Bar Citizen back in 2016, and that's really been my biggest passion. And then starting the Jump Club, and that becoming a community, and then started the Yacht Club show. And for me, it's really been about the community and having fun. I spend far more time talking with people about the project than really even probably playing it, even though I do play a bit, a lot more than STEM, as y'all who know STEM from our show. And it's definitely a challenge to be able to have as much interaction with the community. And I think those of y'all who have large communities, it takes away from making content. I do a little bit of YouTubing content on the side, and I'd like to do more to be able to express my opinions and observations of the project, kind of like I do on the weekly show, but in a more of that evergreen YouTube type of format. And it's a challenge because there's so many things pulling in so many different directions. And work a 50-hour-a-week job, and there's not time, energy in the day to do so many different things. But it's the love of this project and the dream and the people and all of y'all and all the Star Citizen backers. I think that's really what I think fuels me.
You're still in the fun. You're still in the fun category. The community and fun. Is that what you're saying, Joe? Right?
Yep. Community and fun.
Community and fun. All right. Cool. Thank you, man. HC Vertigo.
Hey. So yeah, like I started out years ago trying to. I love PC gaming back a long time ago, and I decided to switch careers. So I originally started out with the idea of making money off this endeavor. And for some reason, people started watching me. The people started coming in and seeing what I was all about. My content just kept growing and growing and growing over the years. And I'm just like, I guess I'm good at this a little bit.
It's the shirt.
Yeah, I know, right? You got that very Canadian kind of look going for me, and the straps that keep my pants up.
There you go.
Like brings people in. People ask about the suspenders all the time. I tell them it keeps the plumber butt away. You know, people need to know I shop at the Gap. But yeah, like, I mean, started out with the idea of money, and then for some reason I have a talent. So fans started showing up, a little bit of fame. I go to Bar Citizens, like, hey, you're HC Vertigo. Like Montoya said, like people just want to shake my hand. Haven't had anyone ask for an autograph yet, which is fine with me. Like I just like being recognized at like a Bar Citizen, and the views came as well. So
okay,
I don't know really what else to add that everyone else hasn't added already.
Okay. But it's interesting to hear you guys, your attitudes about fame is it a more positive spin? You know, it's not an ego-based thing as much as an appreciation side of it, which is nice.
You also have like negative fame that comes from this as well, like infamy. Like other people, like I can't remember who said it, but that's how you know you've made it. Is this like if you have haters, right?
You have haters, right? You got the haters.
Yeah,
right?
And I got people who don't like me either. You know, for some reason, you know, I'm just out here playing video games.
Okay,
just trying to have fun.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, man. Zark.
Yeah,
Thank you. So what's fun for me at creating my content is actually mostly the improvement. I'm pretty proud of how far I myself have gotten from like my first videos, looking back at them from like 2020, and improving on them and taking the concept and making it better and better, and actually seeing that from views and recognition as well is really what makes it fun. I mean, the views and the recognition and the fun and immersing myself in the world and seeing how other people react to me immersing myself. They're all like, it's the views, the recognition, and the fun, and it's all the same concept, really, for me at least. Because if I'm honest, when I made, you mentioned the last video I put out, Beacon Banu, there were so many hours of making that were not fun at all. There's no, if I didn't have views to look forward to or recognition, or like I want to see what people think about this, the comments or whatever, I would stop. I mean, I didn't make that because it was fun making it, not at all.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so you're doing something in a different space though, because creating the content that you're doing is in many ways, like I can go stream, right, and walk away at the end of the day, and I had a good time playing the game, right, and maybe some people watching me, and I'm okay. But you're producing something that is actually intended to get a response, right? It's like a person who's in theater who stands on the stage. You do theater play on a stage, and there's no one in the audience to give you feedback. As an actor, that's a very frustrating space to be in, you know. So it is, exactly. I can understand that wouldn't be very fun. It's important that you do get some type of response or feedback for what you guys do. Those of you who produce art.
Response. That's really a good thing to call it. Yeah, getting a response is really a part of fun, and also building up a community. I make most of my stuff myself, but like the meta, like above my videos, is like the community, and I co-create that with Nate and some other creators, and that's really fun too. So yeah, and when it comes to money, I mean, it's really nice noticing how you can pay for your equipment with money that people think that you should have. That's great. Yeah. And like when a subscription pays for itself, all of a sudden, I love that. But it's not like it's not something that I intend to be like making a living off of.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and the fame, I hope for fame for Oliver. It's like an RP fame. When people say like, "Oh, it's the news guy" in the chat, I love that. So thank you.
Good stuff, man. All right, Certified Gumbo.
Hey, yeah, just I think everyone has said kind of sort of what I'm going to say here, but it is definitely the fun aspect, because I definitely don't get the other ones. The first Star Citizen video I made got like 22,000 views, but everything since then has been like less than 300. And I think you commented and saw that video. You reached out to me after I posted that video shortly. But I mean, the content I like to create and what we like to create at Certified is like conversational and engaging. So as long as we get that, like that's kind of sort of all we really care about. We have a very, very small community, but we took a 6-month hiatus from making content, and like the week before Christmas we did a live stream, and our usual suspects showed up in the chat, and so that's always cool. Like to know that you've got no matter how big or small it is, like you got a community that like the content that you create and they look forward to it. So that's kind of sort of at the end of the day all I care about. So
nice.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, man. Dark Knight 75.
All right. So I'm going to skip over the money part because I don't make a dime. And I'm sure most of us in this room do this because we love the game. We love the community. We love, just interacting. And I think that's a big part of it for me. As someone who, I can say I'm an OG content creator. I was in a band many, many, many years ago, 20 years ago plus. And so, you do get known a little bit. You walk around, so, people do know who you are and stuff like that. But getting into this, I never really wanted to be, noticed, but I do get noticed because of Soul Citizens. Being on this panel is something that makes it easy for me as opposed to trying to make content, which I tried to do with Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen making videos, but it's way too much time to do. And I think all of you content creators that are hardcore out there putting in so much time and money into doing these videos and streams. But as a panelist and not having to pull the weight, thank you so much, Griff, that I still have to be ready. I still need good camera. I still need good equipment. My computer needs to be up to date. I still need to have lights, you know, and you know, invest in quality mics and things like that. I still have to do that. That's a lot, and that's for the love of the community. I meet a lot of you through virtual bar citizens, in-person bar citizens, had conversations. It's fun to meet people in game. You know, I do passenger missions. There are no passenger missions, not coming for a very, very long time. But if I'm doing something and somebody needs, you know, you get the little transport request, I'll take it, go pick them up. They're like, oh, DK, what's going on? And we have a nice little conversation while I haul them over to Area 18 or something like that. And it's a good, you know, just getting in touch with people. And, you know, that little bit of recognition goes a long way. It's kind of cool, you know, to be noticed. So there you go. I think that's it.
Okay, nice. Thanks. Angus and Letty. Boy, I've got my cough drop in my mouth. Sorry about that. Did I lose him? Angus? I thought he was there.
No, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. I'm trying to unmute myself and put my hand down instead.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so for me, when I started pushing these videos out on Mongol Squad's YouTube channel, it was more about trying to educate people. The amount of players out there that play Star Citizen that just aren't aware of what's actually possible in this game is, you know, mind-blowing at times. You know, and the amount of people that would, you know, outright lie and say that you can't do piracy in the game. And it's like, no, you can. Like people talking about, oh, you can't board ships. No, you can. And I made a point of proving that. And for us, we were always doing it anyway. So the content creation part was really just getting everybody else to record, and then we just stitched it all together and put it out there for everybody else to see. And the goal behind that was proving people wrong, to show others how, you know, you could play the game in a way that CIG never told you how to play the game. And as a result, like, you know, we were always having fun, and we still are. But trying to push it out to as many people as possible, so views was a motivation, like trying to get content out to show others, to encourage people to go and do piracy gameplay, to bring more people into Star Citizen who were interested in it. You know, as a result, we gained fame. You know, we're infamous in amongst a whole bunch of circles that probably don't want to acknowledge us. And then, you know, the money is more just compensation for the time of the editors more than anything else.
That's great. If you guys have not checked out Mongol Squad's videos, if you want to see some piracy and some true sandbox play, boom, check them out. Check them out. Check them out. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Jawa.
Yeah, well, everybody's already mentioned fun, but the best part of the fun for me is meeting so many new people. And it's just been great, just meeting new people all over the world. And then, you know, for the views, it's been talked about the metrics, and what I like about that, it helps me make better content. When I first got into this, please don't go watch our old videos. Please don't do that. We have learned so much, and a lot of that's come from the metrics. And the money, as Fist says, it all goes back to the community. So we really enjoy doing that, giving back to the community. And for the fame, it's neat to have new players come into our Discord and fly with us, and they're just so excited about being there. And I guess the other part of the fame is, well, it's not me. It's I've been known as the cat guy. So but it's just, this has just been such a great adventure for Fist and I. Thanks.
If you're muted.
You're muted, Griff.
Yep.
You're muted.
Like, did I just crash out of the Discord?
That's what I thought too, right?
No, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. I'm sorry. My wife came down and asked me a question. No, I was saying that I don't know how many of y'all have had this happen. Some of you do run orgs, but one of the things that people ask us all the time is, oh, are you guys going to start an org as Soul Citizens? I'm like, are you kidding? I can't even do this show every week, let alone manage an org. So those of you who do orgs, God bless you. I don't know how you do that and stream at the same time. Ariana, it's on you.
So for me, I too have kind of always operated my side business of doing content creation at a loss. And I mean, in recent years, it's been more of a just kind of dead even split where I tend to make as much as I spend on it. So it's not really the money. The more important things for me are being able to kind of not be bored. The content I create is kind of a brain dump. If you really get to know me by watching my stuff and by interacting with my stuff, and you can see my focus shifts from time to time. It goes, from Star Citizen to things like just fun things like Rocket League to all the stuff behind me, which is more of the technical aspect that I love to get into, and I do coding streams and things like that. But the most important motivator for me too, to actually being public and being forward facing and having my face out there and my voice out there is having a voice at all, to also represent the fact that I'm this content creator and this person who has somewhat of an audience who happens to also be transgender. And so for me, I don't bring it up that often. I want people to get to know me first and then find that out about me. But having that voice, my hands are starting to shake talking about it, but there's been people who sent me emails who like, they literally had a plan to end their life like that day, and they happened to see my transition video and it gave them hope. And so it's things like that. I just want to encourage everyone to never forget the fact that your voice and your presence in people's lives matters a great deal to them. And that's why they look at you as somebody as important as some huge celebrity, because you're there consistently with them. I know a lot of you, like me, amplified the amount of things you were creating during the pandemic because you recognize that your audience was struggling. And it's stuff like that too that is so important. And so even if you struggle with your motivation, and you hope you can earn enough money someday to make it where it's less of a struggle, know too that the value of all of you is huge.
And he's muted again.
Yep.
Sorry,
You're probably
Ariana, thank you. That's forgive me again. I'm sorry. I'm coughing over here with the sickness. Ariana, thank you. Great words. Thank you. 10 pound 42.
Yeah, my view is a bit different. I got into this in the first place for the challenge of it. Could I monetize a YouTube channel? And that I managed to do that. And from that point on, it's like, what happens next? Where's the challenge next? And now it's like, oh, to make this point, I'll tell you some numbers. I do like the stats. Last month was a good month, and I got 60,000 views, and I made £141 from YouTube. And so the challenge now is like, well, goodness, that's nowhere near enough money to live on. Like, if you 10x that, I'd have to get 600,000 views a month, and I'd make just under probably a UK minimum wage. So the money side of things, and the other thing to say is that I'm buying graphics cards and testing them, so I'm losing loads of money. But the challenge of it, like, how far can I take this? And I think for me, if it wasn't going in kind of positive steps, if it wasn't progressing, or if it kind of was a bit static, I think I'd really struggle with that. So for me, I mean, I love helping people. I love helping people with the PC parts and things like that. But for me, there's a level of challenge to it of like, oh, I wonder where this could go. How could this progress in the future? So yeah, that's mine.
Cool. Very cool. Hope you make it, man. Hang in there. Board Gamer.
Hi. I want to be careful what I say now because some people have said some very nice things and very poetic things. I am in it for the money and the fame. And let me explain that I'm not a total bastard with these comments. So I want to make money from my hobbies. I'm bipolar, so a lot of careers don't really work for me. So content creation, that's something I really enjoy. I enjoy Star Citizen. I'm interested in Star Citizen. I got in at the right time, so I've got a good level of knowledge of Star Citizen that I can just keep on topping up. And I love it as a project, sort of warts and all. And I can cover that every day. I can generate an income from it. Amazing. But when I say fame, it is a level of fame, but it's more I stay for the community. So I really am a social gamer. I enjoy the social aspects of games much more than I enjoy playing a game typically. That's sort of just a framework to socialize for me. So I love getting involved with the org events and talking to people and talking to CIG devs, and that very light level of fame that does give me a few more ins than I would say that a typical person does get. And I'm sort of very privileged, and I really love that. So I've got to meet just so many people from Star Citizen, and a good portion of those are genuinely real friends that I'm like very, very, very thankful for. Like at Bar Citizen, Citizen Cons, and I can do very little. I'm a listener. When in real life, I like people to talk to me, and I like to listen and find out about them. That's the most interesting thing, is other people's stories. So I do have to do very little when I go to a Bar Citizen because people don't mind talking to me. They'll come up to me. That's so little effort for me. Fantastic. And the Star Citizen community is very welcoming. It's super interactive. And yeah, I think that I'm in a very lucky position of where I got in Star Citizen, and the fact that I can make a good income from it, and that I have that light level of Star Citizen fame, so I can get into things. They won't kick me out of a bar. Yeah, thank you. That's all I really wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Board Gamer. Kai's in. We're almost there. Kai's in.
Oh, okay. So two things. One, just for those people who are interested in metrics and fame and blowing up and chasing the money and all of that stuff, Lex Friedman just did a 2.5 hour long interview with Mr. Beast that I think you might want to check out on YouTube, because he picks his brains and does all kinds of stuff on like how to really go at that professionally, if that's what you're interested in. You said at the top not to call anyone out, and I definitely want to make sure that it's not misunderstood. I am not calling anyone out here, but the elephant in the room here is that there is most definitely a negative aspect to fame in this community at times. As someone who I absolutely love Morphologist's Architect Review series, let's be honest, he's taken some heat in the last little bit about some people that have some feels about whatever. And I would really love to respectfully ask for him to kind of share some of what he's felt with regard to that, and some of the negativity, and how you deal with that as a content creator who I absolutely adore your building stuff and whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry to if that's derailing, but I just would love to give him an opportunity to maybe express a little bit of what he's gone through.
Morph, we'll give you a minute for that, and then I want to wrap it up because I got a couple more giveaways, and I got one more thing I want to hit. So go ahead, Morph.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, sure, pretty much everyone's aware what happened, but I mean, it was blown way out of proportion, and maybe I kind of responded too much, more than I should have, and made it a bigger deal responding than I might have otherwise. But sometimes people don't agree with your opinion, but that's just part of becoming a YouTuber. I think sometimes you're going to share opinions that not everybody shares, and sometimes you're going to share opinions people love. And it was the first time really having to deal with something quite so big. But honestly, looking back on it, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it's not going to last for that long, and I'm just going to move on and keep making good content, keep my head down, and enjoy what I do and continue to express opinions no matter what people might think of them, because I don't want to change my opinion because I think people might not like it.
Mark, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to tell you some things that I've heard, and then I want you to kind of tell me, I mean, you can feel free to answer however you want. Some people said, is it a publicity stunt? Some people might have said, there may have been a dynamic that says, did you even expect that you would get that response? In other words, you said it, and when it was over with, you didn't think anything of it. Did it become something that you honestly, like when it happened, you're like, whoa, I you know, like you said, I mean, there are people who have a smaller audience who could have said it and it would have probably never reverberated. Were you aware that you saying something would have that level of impact in the community? Or was it just, you know,
No,
like anything
I
else you
wasn't
put out?
actually. You know, sometimes I forget about when I say things, some people take it as like it's going to make a difference, or like because I'm, you know, my channel is the way it is, that that CIG is going to listen to what I have to say, so they're going to get really upset, like, oh no, he's going to change the game in a way that I don't approve because, you know, he's big. They get this idea that I get special treatment or something, that they listen to me more than anybody else when it comes to balance, and none of that's the case. And I don't blame them for that misunderstanding. I mean, there's always going to be a loud minority of people who don't really understand what's going on, and that's just the way it is. And I'm sorry, the first part of your question was
no, you actually answered the question. That's what I was just curious as to, did you, you know, like a lot of times we churn stuff out, we don't necessarily expect that there's going to be an overwhelming response to something, right?
Yeah, and you know,
that was
the publicity thing is, the publicity thing's a bit annoying, because it wasn't like because I expressed my opinion I got more views or notoriety. Not really. I mean, I don't think people outside the Star Citizen community really know or care about the A2 conversation. It was only people within the community that got upset about it, so I don't see how it could be a publicity thing.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
I will say this though, I feel like I want to encourage people to continue to share their opinions, regardless of whether or not it might not be the most popular opinion, or if it might go against the grain of maybe what people are saying, because I want to cultivate a community, if possible, at least within my own community, where I at least have some sort of say over what happens in Armco, a community where everybody's opinions are welcome, because you never know where a great idea is going to come from. It doesn't matter if you are like the most skilled or experienced in one thing, or you're just new at it. Opinions can come from anywhere, and I've learned that through my professional career, and I think that it holds true for a lot of places.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to be discouraged from what happened, and I'm kind of giving myself some advice as well. And I'm going to try to stick to that this year and just continue to do what I want to do and express opinions that I feel and hold for myself.
Real quick, I just want to say to my followers, people are expressing their appreciation and support to you in Zoom and Twitch chat. So check that out.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, and thank you, Fastcard.
Thanks. You're muted, buddy.
Sorry. I was going to say my situation's a little bit like kind of boards as well, because I'm also bipolar. But one other thing I'm noticing is that like almost everyone here has a full-time job. I don't. I actually started doing content creation out of kind of boredom or too much time on my hands. And yeah, I think that's all I'll kind of say on that. So I just like everything I've heard, I'm just noticing that mine's a bit different. And I just fell in love with the game. I know you're saying fun or views or whatever, but my draw card was I'm just a guy that really loves the game. So I'll leave it at that.
That's good stuff. All right, Pops, we're going to put it on you. If you would keep it to the 1 minute, because I don't want to hold everyone, because other folks do have things to do, but I do want to have a couple more things for them before we go. So Pops.
Yeah, well, let me change my monologue then. No, I just wanted to say, all I wanted to say was I enjoyed this, and I would like to see this done maybe a year from now, to see from other people's opinions have changed, what has changed, and what they've done.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate that.
Real quick, can I just say, I did actually suggest to Griff that we actually do this in the lull periods every 6 months. So we could do one in January and like one in June, July. I don't know if you've still got plans for that, Griff. Maybe we can talk about that later. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. No, it's okay mentioning it. I'm going to actually bounce something else off of you all that is tied into that a little bit. But before we do that, I want to do another giveaway. By the way, Catastrophic, I was wrong about what you got for your prize. You don't get the Slipstream dancing racing paint pack. You get the Slipstream, the Overdrive, and the turbocharged racing packs. So you get all of them. Okay. So I zoned out there.
Rigged.
Rigged. The next thing I want to ask is Nazareth and Yo Silas. The two of you got here first. Who was first?
Into the main room or into
into the when you were waiting room.
Into the waiting. I think it was him.
Yo Silas, were you here before anybody else?
I honestly don't know. I believe I saw Nazareth sitting there first.
All right, since they're both being humble, you both will get the Zanul flight suit, the Zanul Sayaya flight suit, and the Zanul Tan flight suit.
Oh my!
So you guys will get all three of those. Okay, so please send your RSI email addresses to Fastcart, and we will get those out to you.
This is how Griff makes sure we all show up on time for these in the future.
That's right. If you're here first, you might win something. Because you know me, Kai. You know how I'm about time.
Yes, sir.
For the next time.
I thought it was actually an hour earlier, so I logged on.
Somebody was here a whole hour earlier. Okay, last but not least, who has been streaming at least 5 years? Raise your hand. 5 years. Star Citizen content, mind you, not just streaming. Star Citizen content.
Definitely not.
5 years. Who has been streaming? Ooh, that dropped some people off. Ooh, who has been Star Citizen content at least 6 years? Seven years.
I know who's going to win this one.
I'm guessing. I can't figure it out here. 7 years.
Oh, board gamers. This one.
Ooh.
Just give it to him right now.
8 years.
I think you'd be surprised, though.
Wow.
Longer than me.
I mean,
9 years.
I think it's Paul. To be honest.
I mean, now you got the dream team up there.
Is it Paul?
No. 9 years.
I think I'm only 8.5. I think I'm only 8.5.
Holy smokes.
Oh, wow.
That
So how
was
long?
Hit him up. Hit him up. Execute. Tell him what you did before this. Before Inforunners.
You're muted.
He's muted.
Nothing.
Still muted.
Still muted.
Still muted.
You're still muted.
Still muted.
No, I'm not muted. I'm not muted. Sorry.
You got
I keep muting myself so I can do things and not make noise. Sorry. So I started doing Star Signal way back, and I was really known for interviews and stuff, and it was you guys talked before about humbling. I remember watching other shows that talked about watching our show, and that was the most humbling thing for me, where other people were talking about our show on their podcast. It was really weird. So yeah, anyway, but that takes me way back, so yeah.
All right, well, Execute, since you're the OG in the room, you get the OG award today, which is the Zeus Exploration Solar, the Zeus Exploration, the other one, and the other Zeus. You get all three of the Zeus suits. You get Zeus suits, okay? So we'll send those to you, all right?
I should have lied. How long I was content creating.
Can I tell you what? I actually do have them all, so you can send them to board. That's fine.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
Board,
got all three of them.
He's bequeathing to you, Board.
He can
There
have
you
them.
go. So now you got to be on his show again. Holy smokes.
You know what?
All right.
I will wear them in your honor. I like free stuff. I'll take it.
They look just as fat as me, board. So that'll be super fitting.
All right, thank you for that. There was another subject that we were going to cover, but Fastcard has quickly reminded me that we are at our time. And so the next question that I wanted to ask, and well, do you guys want to hear the question, or you want to break it off for the night?
I can go for another 5 hours.
No.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll split it into 15 minutes. Okay.
Don't listen to Naz. Don't listen to
Naz.
Right.
15 minutes on this last question, and this is a tough one. All right. This one is titled Managing Expectations, but I want to talk about enlightening versus gaslighting. What are your feelings about that? What are your feelings about enlightening the community and gaslighting the community? And now gaslighting doesn't necessarily mean, I'm not going to say it means something bad, because it could be clickbait, could be a form of gaslighting to a certain degree. So
is that kind of positive versus negativity. Is that what you're?
I'm trying not to make it say in a way. I'm gaslighting quite often is something that's done very deliberately to fire people up. Okay, I'll put this out. That's all I'm going to say. You can say that about something positive.
This is a very long topic. I could be here for a very long time.
Well, okay,
it's gonna be
we don't have
show.
to cover it. I mean, I don't want to take you guys' time because I want to be respectful of people's time. So
I think this is tied very closely to how long you've been around as well. You know what I mean? I think you have very different opinions on what gaslighting is if something's new to you.
Okay, well, I'm going to define gaslighting as something that you're doing with the deliberate intent of getting people fired up. Now that could be positive.
So like hype, like hype baiting.
Well, it could be hype. Yes, because let's talk about that for a minute. And I'll put some stuff behind this. Jared has said that hype is the death of things for players. That if that people's expectations can go the wrong place when the hype is built up too much. And he's also stated that the frustration that he has as the person he is that if people say things, particularly content creators, that CIG has not said. Now, I'm not talking about when you're theory crafting. You're talking about theory crafting and you've told people, hey, I'm just this stuff. But I'm talking about when people declare that this is what's coming in the game and CIG never said it.
With all due respect to Jared, whom I love, the fact of the matter is the biggest source of that hype is CIG marketing and Chris Roberts' statements. So with love and affection, it's one of those deals where it's like you want it when it comes to the money, but then you don't want it when it comes to trying to manage expectations.
Let me say what I said earlier.
Yes,
I said his issue is when we say things that they have not said.
And then it's interpretation too.
So just lying.
I'm saying when people say stuff that they have not said. So I hear you, Kai, but I'm talking about when people say stuff they ain't said.
Yes, sir.
You know, and so
that's different.
I'm saying they're right, exactly. And there are people who, you know, maybe they formulated in their own mind what they think Star Citizen is going to be, and then they go say it, and they don't understand being in a position of somewhat authority, being on stream. People automatically assume that what they said is what CIG has said. So if y'all want to spend some time on this, we can. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Y'all just give me a hand vote.
Looks like we got hands up.
I see hands are up. So, okay, we've got a few hands that are up. All right. Anybody needs to leave, we completely understand. But I do want to take a survey at the end of this. And here's the survey question. You can think about it. Would it be cool if CIG had something for content creators at CitizenCon?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So let me ask
later.
And if you want to answer that question while we're doing this at the beginning, please do. Paul, go ahead. Just on you.
All right, so I'll start off with the that one because that's pretty easy.
Okay.
Yes, because quite frankly, and this is going to be more of a directed point at CIG. CIG doesn't spend any money on marketing. We are their marketing, and whether we're positive or negative views on CIG, we give them like attention.
Okay.
And while the community team does their best to help us out, I don't think management actually cares about us like in any way, shape, or form. Nor do they really acknowledge it as much as as much as the work we do for them. And it would be nice to get a little bit of acknowledgement. And it's not just, and then the other thing is the focus on Twitch. They focus on Twitch far too much compared to YouTube. They don't, they never pay attention to YouTube, only Twitch streamers. And when you know CIG is going to, a big 1,000, 2,000 person streamer comes in, their social media is all about that person for the next week, which I get. It's they're promoting it. But then, you know, half the people in this room have never gotten a shout out from CIG. Why? You know, in any way, shape, or form. Okay. And it's just a matter of like CIG is so focused on certain aspects they need to kind of expand about that. So yeah, it'd be nice to have a nice little content creator shout out from CIG.
Yeah, and I'm talking about like something, you know, like they have something on schedule, you know what I mean, on program, you know. Okay, cool. So, okay, but about the enlightening versus gaslighting, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll be very quick on this one.
Okay.
It's a steady, there's a line between being too, letting the hype become the narrative and between salt becoming the narrative. And you'll see people kind of say that people who kind of tread on the negativity side tend to justify their actions as being realistic, and people who tread on the hype train tend to kind of lean on being, you know, having faith. And there's really, I don't really think there is a problem necessarily with either one. Though I do think that there is, the problem is modern social media and modern creation requires emotion. We cannot be dull. As much as I'm sure Board Gamer would love to just throw out a news video that's just saying news of this week and get 10,000 views. It's not going to happen. He has to have a clickbait title. You know,
whoa.
I'm not saying this as a clickbait. I'm not. It's not. It's like, because I know I have.
There's a
to
game
think
you
about
have to play on
titles.
YouTube.
Yeah.
You have to feed the algorithm.
And
The algorithm
if we
consumes a certain type
and
of
no
content.
one cares if it's just news. They care about when's this coming out? Are we going to get other things? Not to throw more people into the bus, but is this the year for Star Citizen? Those things will get views. Those things will get clicks, and we have to kind of play that game. So there's a bit of like, yeah, there can be some of those problems, but we still, as creators, if we want to try to get that views, if we want to try to get more attention, if we want to try to get our opinion out there, we have to kind of ride that line. That's just it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Paul. Pops in space.
Yeah. As far as the content creators, there's a lot of people in here that do a tremendous amount of work. Everyone execute everyone. So I don't know how CIG separates that. That would be a big undertaking, I think, for them. I think it's a great idea, but I think it was something that would have to be controlled from the regular people to the content creators, and I don't know how they give that information out exclusively, but
no, that's what I'm talking about, Pops. I'm talking about something that just like how we did this today. We arranged for just to be content creators.
Right.
You know, at the Citizen Con when we went last time, I think they had about 1,800 people, something like that. Okay, and whatever the percentages of content creators that are there for that. I'm just saying what we did was they actually have different sessions going on, so there would be a session for content creators. It wouldn't be with the masses, you know. And I was just curious as to whether or not content creators felt like that would be something cool for us to have a gathering there physically, just like we're doing here virtually. You know, that's what I was kind of wondering.
Okay, yeah. In that text, yes, I think it would be nice. It would give all of us it would bring people in, and like he said, I believe Paul said or Board Gamer said it, that they don't pay for it. We actually do it. So I think that would be an excellent boost. Towards the other subject, I think it is a part of a responsibility when you gaslight something and you start a topic as if you know something, that you have exclusivity to a subject matter that you don't have more than the rest of us have, but you make it seem like it is true. I think that is not responsible.
Interesting. Okay. My best friend works for CIG and he told me, okay.
Sounds legit.
All right, more. What you got?
I will say that sometimes, and I'm not talking about myself, but sometimes when creators talk about Star Citizen, some of them have talked to members of CIG, but it's not always that those members of CIG know what's going on, or that they know what the final version is going to be, because things change quickly at CIG. So they might have said something and then it's changed later, and then it seemed like they were gaslighting people when really they thought they were being truthful. My opinion on this is that I can't think of anybody in this community that has intentionally, by the definition of gaslighting, tried to gaslight people about something about Star Citizen's development. I think it comes down to opinion and it comes down to perspective. People have different perspectives on the project. Some people see it in a more positive light. Some people tend to look at the more negative parts of it, but that's not gaslighting. That's just their opinion. And I think it's unfair to label certain people, even the most negative of people in the community. And like we said, we're not calling out names here, just like the most negative people that associate with negativity. Saying that they're gaslighting, I think, is unfair to them. They have an opinion. I think that opinion is valuable. We need to have the good. We need to have the bad. That's I think how we create a very constructive community, a constructive conversation in the community. I think though that, you know, some people, some of the really bad stuff I think comes from outside of the community, from people who just don't care. They're just looking to get a quick click because it's, you know, it's easy to hate on Star Citizen. There's a lot of, you know, like, oh, it's a big expensive scam or whatever, you know, but whatever. I mean, it's not, that's not even gaslighting. They just don't care. So anyway, about that's my thoughts on that. Concerning the sitcom stuff, I mean, I guess I'm with Astro Pub, but I'm thinking of this as more of a practical thing. I would love for them to set aside, and I already actually reached out to them and said that I would love for them to do this, to set aside a content creator area of the floor, because I'm not trying to give us special treatment, but it would be nice to have an area where we can hold like conversations that we want to record to make content, to talk with other content creators or members of the community,
interviews, all that
or
stuff.
CIG. And because if you went to the last sitcom in Manchester, everyone's moving around and stuff, and it's really cool. But when I did an interview with one of the a couple of developers from the environment team, we had to sit out on a table kind of in the middle of the floor. And it was kind of awkward because my camera could have been hit and it could have not gotten knocked over. It's a very expensive piece of equipment. I'd rather have a safe area for us to set up, even if it's in some corner off somewhere where it's out of the way. That'd be perfect, you know.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea, kind of like a press area. I like that. That's a very cool idea.
Basically,
real quick, quick chat wants us to hydrate, so make sure you drink some water or something.
not to step on Morph's stuff, but most conventions actually do that. Most conventions have a creator or a press badge, so that, you know, that makes sense.
Well, and I got a press badge too, and there wasn't really a press area. That was kind of a press area, but later they opened it up because Chris was doing signings there. It wasn't really a designated area.
Yeah.
So
that's a great idea, Morph. That's a great idea. Board Gamer.
Hi, I'm Board Gamer. Well, now I've changed my name to Bait Gamer by popular demand. So when I make videos, I often will do a video on a mechanic that is far future gameplay that plays on hype and theorycraft. Yeah, I discuss that hype and theorycraft. And some people reference those as this is how it's going to be. So there is a partial responsibility, at least on me, to make sure that it's very clear that that is not how it's definitely going to be, but that's how I expect it's going to be, whatever. So somehow I have failed in that duty to do that. So when you're talking about gaslighting, I do think that when you are covering content like that, and I am certainly to blame in some aspects of this, that I go far too much on the hype or something I'm excited about and talk about it and talk about how it might be. And I think I'm relatively clear on, well, this is what I think it's going to be or how it's expected to be, or what Cloud Imperium had originally said, but that could change. People are still going to reference that. So I just think people need to make it as clear as possible as many times as they can without becoming, you know, beating over the head with a repetition stick. Like things with like dates. I am the wrongest with dates. I expected Squadron 42 since 2016. Like, and people will reference it's always 2 years away when talking about me, which I make as a joke, but also it is something I have said every 2 years. So I mean, it's yeah. So I don't know. I think some content creators have to bear a little bit of blame towards the getting stuff wrong and hyping up the community and confusing the community, but it's also the viewer as well that's getting confused because they are not fully listening sometimes, not always, obviously.
Good stuff.
Say that.
Thanks, Bort. Good stuff.
Nice.
Zark.
That's me. Hi. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, right, about lighting and gaslighting. First, I wanted to touch on Paul's point that he made early on about how viewers are actually emotional, and you always have to bring to your content, or like your not clickbait per se, but you have to adhere to like the emotional release people get from actually watching something, clicking something, and that being anticipation or stuff like that. You have to, without lying, of course, but you have to respect that that's how people work, and people, creators want views. I mean, you want people to watch your stuff. And the board took that up right now about how he's doing a lot of theory crafting and discussing like what could be possible, and I do that too, but from like another angle. Like I could make something up like straight off the bat, something that does not exist in the game, but I just put it in there and it looks like an Ursa has an AI, or your Moby Glass has like a whole social app that it doesn't have. And I mean, most people are just going to have to like sort through that. And I think you have to draw a line in between like what's lying and what is theory crafting and what is like me just being hopeful for something to work a certain way. And on the point of positive lighting, I have to, I know you said we don't call out streamers, but I hope it's okay to call out in like a positive light.
If it's a positive light, if it's something, that's fine.
I have to mention DG360, and he's like he's a very hype person who does a lot of things where he watches other people's content and my content in particular. He's a big fan of Machinima. My content in particular has been very it took a spin when he started watching them. And I don't remember who said it. I think it was Execute who said like the boost you get from watching someone else watch your content with like a whole Twitch audience too. That's really something, and that can really be like picking someone up and having them move forward. And yeah, so that's great. Us boosting each other as content creators. I love that.
Thank you, Zark.
Thank you.
Zagellion.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How you doing today?
Good.
I think gaslighting is a trendy term. I think businesses are aggressive marketers in 2022 or 2023. Sorry. It benefits the entire community in the gaming industry to keep this project funded. And I'm a big fan of individuals taking dramatic action to achieve impossible goals. And we're kind of strapped into that, and that's kind of cool. And, you know, I think the question is, what sort of corporation do you want to be with? It's like the project management triangle. You want the best damn space game, but how badly do you want it? Got to make some sacrifices and throats must be cut. Maybe I'm just a small town person, but damn, it's cool to be a part of this project. That's all.
Okay, that's good stuff. I'm gonna
real quick. I just want to remind people, Zagellion, you did great, but remember, try to keep it under a minute, folks.
Yes, because we do want to let you guys go. Certified Gumbo.
All right. Oh, so I mean, gaslighting is it's such a touchy subject. I think at the end of the day, like, if it's not dangerous, like if the content they're creating is not dangerous, then it's not really an issue, because everybody has an opinion, regardless of like how informed that opinion may or may not be. I mean, that's just a perspective. Like a lot of people are going to share opinions that you have or not. So like at the end of the day, like, do you, I guess, as the content creator, I mean, does it suit your audience, and does it actually communicate effectively what you're trying to communicate? There's a lot of content creators that I have watched, including all of you, like, who I thoroughly enjoy. Whether or not those opinions are good or bad, in my opinion, like, I think it's great. And I think that for the project, like, there's a lot of discussion about how much money people spend, and that, you know, that's always a big topic. But I think at the end of the day, what a lot of people may or may not realize is, I think a lot of people who play this game realize like how amazing this project is and can one day be if they see it through to the finish line. Like, and at least that's my perspective. Like, that's kind of why I support the project, is because it is something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I believe like what they're doing is very, very unique. And that's something I just want to support. And as far as the community thing goes, I would love that, because I think as a fan of you all, like, if I've watched a lot of your content, it would be wonderful to meet all of you in person. And I think CitizenCon is like the best like place to do that. Like, where else will we do that? But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Hey, it's Nick.
Hello. So my view on the whole theory crafting, you know, gaslighting, non-gaslighting, I really view it as everyone is talking about their perspectives and expressing what they do and don't want in the game, whether it's something CIG has said or not said. I think all discussion about what we do want in the game or don't want in the game is extremely valuable, especially right now, because that gives a lot of devs, if they do see the content, at least some insight at what the community does and doesn't want. So I believe even if it is perceived as a gaslighting, it is still an insight into what are these content creators thinking, and what are the people in the comments, and what are the people expressing about themselves about what they are saying, to give them actual feedback before they can start developing some of the tech and gameplay that isn't quite fleshed out just yet. So I think all of it has value, and it's even if it is negative or not.
Okay, thank you much, man. Nazareth?
On the CitizenCon thing, yes, I think that like I've been around a couple other games that they definitely make sure you know, like, hey, we're a small indie team of like 5 people. Our content creators are doing like a lot of money worth of work. So I think Star Citizen is still an indie game, so I think they should at least recognize. If not, like I like the creator corner kind of thing for interviews. If not, like a behind closed doors candid talk with developers, or just basically the developers or CIG themselves, like saying, hey, we love what you're doing, we're here for you, like you are doing work that we would otherwise need to put money into. Here's some things you could do, or something from CIG.
Okay.
On the gaslighting or whatever the word was, I realized after all of these people talking, like it's definitely a personal thing. But I do believe like there is like a line of lying, and straight up lying is immoral to me. But they're like, there's levels of lying on YouTube. So there's like, if you put your thumbnail, I bought the biggest ship in Star Citizen, and you put a ship from Babylon 5, is that lying, or is that just clickbait? Like where's the line go? Or CIG has said that they've canceled farming. Yes, I do too. Like CIG has canceled farming, or you can now farm bunnies in Star Citizen. Like that's also not true, and they've said neither of those things. So it definitely boils down to each individual person to dip into how far is lying. I know, like personally, I don't do not lying, but hyping or like twisting it, or putting forth a question in a way that sounds different than it was intended. And I know I personally don't do enough of that because my thumbnails and things are super boring. But like I know a lot of creators are really good at like taking a concept, like the new ship or a new feature releasing, or something was talked about, or there was a single line in a letter from the chairman, and that they took that single line and made it sound like the header on the article.
Right.
And I think that is the perfect point of the clickbait kind of scale, where we're able to take a reality and to make it important.
Okay. All right, Nazareth,
Can I say something? I want bunny farming.
Oh no, what have I done?
Right? Let's go.
Digital Master Gaming.
I have to get my turn off mute. So for me, first of all, yes, to the community thing, I would love to be able to go to CitizenCon. I've done that for E3 quite a few years ago, and it was a great experience. So I would love to see that for Star Citizen. As far as the gaslighting, again, I also think that word is a bit strong, but what I think the problem is a combination of things. You have the fact that Star Citizen has been in development for 10 years. That's the one thing, but you have equal amount of information for that same span of time. And what I think the problem is, you have some people, of course, we're not naming names, who just don't do the homework, don't digest all the information that's out there, and then don't get proper context. I think there's a difference between opinions and facts. And I think we all have an opinion. That part's fair, right? And our opinions are based on the information that we have. My problem is, if you're going to present yourself as an information source, then you should hold yourself to getting that information, doing the work, doing the research, getting the facts straight, then informing your audience, because I think it's the ones who are lazy about that where you get those sorts of problems. And I think it's a very small amount of people that do that, because again, I think that word is a bit strong.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Remember, the internet is undefeated.
Joran.
Yeah, my thoughts were very much along that line. I think everybody creates their own narrative direction over time, be it the salt hype or the salt direction or the hype direction. And there's so much information. All of y'all that have been following every day for years and years and years, there's so many different places that information is posted. Sometimes it's gaming magazine articles. Sometimes it's some dev talking at a bar citizen. Sometimes it's Spectrum comments. Sometimes it's Discord comments or Twitch comments or Reddit comments, official outlets. And there's so many different pieces of information. And the project has changed so much over the past 10 years. The big picture stayed very true, but so many things shape the view that everybody has. And if you're missing one critical piece of information, then your entire perspective on certain things is going to be different. And it's I think it's nearly impossible to really have all that information. And like had that conversation with Execute after I was on a show, and he said that, and there was this one particular comment about the Cutlass Red, that it was going to be a respawn point. It's like, I never saw that one, and I saw other contradictory comments, and CIG has made contradictory comments over the years, and things change, and it's difficult. So I mean, I don't necessarily fault people, other than, as has been mentioned, the ones that really clickbait negativity.
I think that what you're alluding to there,
white knight there,
Joe, and what you're alluding to is it's been 10 years of information, and let's be honest, they've contradicted themselves more times than I can dare to admit.
Well, I equate it to like trying to get a glass of drinking water from Niagara Falls. You stick your hand in the glass under the waterfall, and you pull it out, and the glass is gone. There's just too much water.
Yeah, and there's no way somebody can go back and know everything that there is. You can't do that much homework. Other than,
I don't know, Board's trying pretty hard. Board's trying pretty hard.
But he's been here for 9.5 years. You've been here for 10 years.
But I'm going to admit, I've forgotten more than I've remembered.
Yeah,
and Algren and I between us know a hell of a lot, right? But there's no one that knows everything in this game, and I think that's another thing that I related earlier. Working together. If you don't know someone, reach out to someone else, because they probably may know the answer.
Jordan, I just want to say, CIG is never wrong. Our Star Citizen came out in 2014.
The not knowing thing is why I like doing like on-stream researching. When somebody asks a question, I will pull open a Google Chrome window and start looking at going through and the roadmap, different wikis, different videos. I will find the answer on screen.
Ew, you use Chrome?
Yes, and I'm currently at over 100 tabs. Why?
And get to know people that are known researchers. Like I know a guy in Concierge. He runs the most massive database on everything to do with the economy. And when I have a question, I go ask him.
Wait, you know Tony Z?
There's a lot of knowledgeable citizens out there for sure. Yeah.
Loud guns.
Yeah, I think it's probably on us a little bit in terms of just designating what we're putting out, which is factual information, which the IG have said. What's our opinion? Because like, what's the point of watching a video if it doesn't have a little bit of opinion? You know, that's the entertainment angle, the thing which makes it different. And you've got to put, to my mind, a big warning on total blue sky speculation. Because again, that's really cool to say, what could this game be? And it's part of the appeal of the project. But, you know, it is an issue if someone picks that up and says, that kitten farming thing. But then there is also the element of, like, from a viewer's perspective, you got to understand we're all positive to a degree. Like we all love the game, we all love the project. I wouldn't spend the amount of time I spend making videos if it was just about, you know, some of the other things that came up, the money. If it was about the money, I'd stack shelves at a supermarket. But also just last thing to cap on sort of something Board Gamer said, I think it's a brilliant strategy to just say Squadron's coming out in 2 years, because you'll be right one day and everybody will just remember the time you called it perfectly. That's smart. I'm going to start doing it.
All right, thanks, Loud Guns. Calamitous.
All right, there we go. Pretty much on the misinformation type thing. I think a lot of people hit the nail on the head. It's been 10 years, so there's a lot of information out there, and it's spread, and it's hard to get, and if you got to really do some digging, so you know, to get things correct. But you know, you should do your research if you're out there giving that information out to other people. More though, I had something to say about what Astro and I believe Nazar said about, you know, just CIG out there. I think we all need to actually, I guess is the best opportunity for us to say something. You know, they need to recognize this all a little bit more. I wasn't aware of the YouTube thing, you know, that it's tough to get recognized, you know, recognition on YouTube. But even talking from you know, a big streamer or YouTuber standpoint, you got people with 2,000 referrals and all they got was a javelin. You know, that's an issue. You know what I mean? People are definitely putting some big work out there, and coming from a marketing standpoint myself, I think we definitely need to ask for more, or ask them to recognize us more for what we're doing for them.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Calamitous. Smithy Joe
Wolf
Bob.
should have like a fleet of javelins by now.
Smithy Joe Bob.
All right, friends. I just want to say again, thanks for, you know, having me here. It's been super awesome meeting everybody. But like touching on the actual question, like a big part of this is that like a fundamental like I'm so much more eloquent in my brain.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, like a
This
fundamental
is why
part
I'm
of this
writing
is
notes
like human
down.
nature and how the internet works, right? Like we
Taking
all
notes.
we all want to be in groups. We all want to like agree with somebody. We want to like find the people that we're interested in following. We like we tend to like look at people and see what they're saying. It's like, yes, that guy. I agree with Vert. He's the guy that I'm going to get all my information from. Right? We've seen this. This has been like 2020, right? We know real life events that have been shaped by all this kind of stuff. Right. And I think it's on us as content creators to kind of be cognizant of like, you know, what we're saying versus, you know, the things that we need to say, because, you know, you get like people come to you for the things that like you have said and they agree with you. You start saying something contradictory to that, they then start going somewhere else. So you kind of need to do that to get like to keep your shit coming in, right? I had a point about this and it's gone.
Well,
God damn it.
That's all right. But we kind of get the direction of where you're going with it. I think there's some aspects of
right, like Board Gamer like touched on it a bit when he was saying that like there's some onus on like what he says. But there's also like an onus on what the audience is saying, right? Like we don't realize that we're in these like echo chambers, right?
Yep, that's a good point. Thank you. All righty. Guys, we're winding down here.
Sir, so to your first point of should there be some kind of a thing at TwitchCon for CitizenCon, sorry, for content creators, I strongly feel that there should, but not because it's a gift or a prize or a present in any way for the content creators. It should because it's a resource for the company for $0 for the very small amount of money of a small bit of organization at the thing to provide free content on their behalf for the community. So I don't see it as like a prize for us. I see it as a resource that they can use for free. And if they don't use it, they're wasting their time and money. To the second thing, again, man, gaslighting is such a loaded term now that I stay away from it because it can be very, it has all kinds of connotations now.
That's
But
why
just,
that's why I gave a
but
definition.
no, I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
I get it. But I strongly agree that it is important for everybody to try to not knowingly put out false information. I come back to the point that I think that the biggest source of hype and sometimes, you know, frustration is information that actually does come from the company in one way or another. And sometimes it's not even explicit. Sometimes it's just the marketing is so goddamn good that you see a video and they're showing, you know, that special squadron flying around and this, that, and the other, and they're showing people do all kinds of stuff. And you're like, oh, you can do that in the game? And like us who are in the community know, like, nope, not yet. But other people might not know that. And they're happy to take the money, but then don't want you to hold them accountable for stuff. So I think that there is a thing there that also has to be kept in mind. And I'll shut up now.
No problem. It's good stuff. Thanks, Kai. HC.
I think I'm about to step on a landmine here. Because I don't think gaslighting is a proper term. I'm going to use something that's more akin to gaming. And I'm going to call it the Molyneux effect, where a guy like Peter Molyneux will get up on stage at E3 and start talking about his game, Fable, and people will start asking him questions from the audience, and he'll be like, yeah, we'll put that in the game. Yeah, we'll put that in the game. We'll put that in the game. And then CIG realizes, or Molyneux realizes, how difficult it is to actually make that product. And ship date comes up, and they have to start shuffling stuff around to make the shipping date. But CIG doesn't have a release date. But they have all these promises, 100 systems at release, Terravon Kung Fu, Saddle Ball, that kind of stuff. Arena Commander 2.0 with like Capture the Idris and Theaters of Where. It's just sometimes they literally are their own worst enemy. Star Citizen, CIG creates all the problems that CIG has to deal with, but sometimes it is the community just kind of hyping stuff up. People get excited. That creates like a wave. I don't know if everybody's been in one of those wave pools where the wave pool starts up and it starts building and building and building. But usually it starts out as a little wave and then it starts picking up, and people start enjoying it, and then the algorithm just kind of feeds into itself and it just gets more and more popular. And then everybody's like, well, what happened to the thing? And it's just like, CIG threw out like a 1-sentence thing on it, and then the community just ran with that one sentence. And this is like, and CIG's like, well, stuff changed. So you end up with, I know the Molyneux effect kind of has like, well, Peter Molyneux has like a really big negative association with his name, but it's almost like that. What happens with CIG? They throw out like this thing they're thinking about. And the wave builds, the hype wave builds behind that. The fans get really excited because we love consuming stuff about Star Citizen. That was makes us a fan. Right. We want to know more about it. So we talk about it as content creators. We're like, hey, this thing, CIG said this thing. What do we think about this thing? What's going to be? We go on podcasts. We talk about the thing on the podcasts. And that just kind of builds the wave. And people who don't really engage very deeply with like CIG on their official website, maybe they just engage with content creators. That adds to that algorithm that starts bubbling up even more and more and more. And CIG's like, where'd all this come from?
Okay. All right. I wish we had more time, because I wish I could venture down where you went, HC, because your point is well made.
I mean, like, we have how many content creators still in here?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if someone's running a podcast soon, maybe later today. We could talk
Stop
about this.
Stop it, Vertigo. Stop it.
Are you saying 24-hour stream?
I don't know, like, have we just like we got YouTubers, we got streamers in here.
Plenty of folks
like,
to continue the conversation.
This is a topic worth touching.
All right.
Just bring your questions. That's all you got to do. Bring your questions, and Hannah will talk about them.
Yeah. So what you're saying, we should just have a room that's just always open and always streaming somewhere, and devs, or not devs, but content creators can just come in and out.
Always go and talk. No problem. All right, Levin Tanger, let's. I'm going to wrap this up. Go ahead, Levin.
You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. When you had said gaslighting, I was like, man, that's a little strong. But when I think about things I've seen on Spectrum and Reddit and on comments from other content creators' videos, I went and looked at the word gaslighting to see what it meant. I want to read it to you. I'm going to change one word.
Read the definition.
So it says gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victim's mind. Now, what if we change that word to gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the content creator seeks to sow self-doubt and confusion in the viewer's mind? Right? What is the criteria for being a content creator?
Having an audience.
Having a phone with a camera on it, right?
No, like just some random
internet access.
I think making a post. Anyway, making a post.
And see, and that being my point, there are people, and I'm sure that you all are familiar with people like us, people you may have not even met yet, that aren't good with meeting people. They're not good in social situations. They've got low self-esteem or issues with certain things, so they may not do content creation, or maybe they do and they don't show their face, or maybe they do and they don't show their voice. So, like, for instance, I like where's he at? Is he still in here? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of his name. There's a morphologist. So before I started creating content, I've seen some of his stuff, so I'm like, man, that's really awesome. I wanted to maintain the video quality that he had in my content. I didn't want to show my face. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to be that guy. I just wanted to make cool Star Citizen content because I enjoyed it. And when you're passionate about something, right? And you put it out there. 9 times out of 10, somebody that's watching your content is going to see the passion or the drive behind what you do and why. You then have a responsibility to that person. I feel like that should be the criteria of what it means to be a content creator. And at that point, if you're operating out of integrity, it eliminates gaslighting and it eliminates the positive and the negative, because then you are creating content and you have viewership and are building a community that's not based on you having emotionally manipulated your viewers. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, point made.
And I think that's why all of us here, we have the different people that come to watch us. There's people that maybe like morphologists, but they don't like me, or they like Board Gamer and they don't like Morph. And does it really matter why? No, because there was a connection that they saw. There was something about that person, not just their content. It was something that they learned about them, something that brought it together for them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think, especially with Star Citizen having so much depth and difficulty to getting good at different things in it, the technical nature of the game. I think not just for gaming period, but at least for the Star Citizen community, for us, I think that we have a responsibility to do that. You know what I mean? And if that's the one thing that all people that watch different channels see across all the content, then we don't have things like gaslighting or drama or things like that. It was just a thought that I had when you know, so I was just sharing.
No, I appreciate that. And,
But
I'm gonna wrap up my thing talking about what you just said. So thank you for that. Okay.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, Leaf.
Throw me last because mine kind of summarizes everything we've been talking about.
No, why don't you go ahead? Because I'm going last. You go ahead. Because
I thought there's still another hand up though.
Just one. Go ahead. Just one. Go ahead.
Okay. Basically, on the whole thing, I just want everyone to remember intent on a content creator's video as well, because there's definitely a chance that someone accidentally does something wrong. For instance, I made a video, What is Star Citizen? My intent was to just show the vision of the game, what it's building towards. Unfortunately, it was received. I know Soul Citizen, you guys watched it, DG watched it, and the reception was, because I talked about Quanta and the economy behind it, obviously not in the game. And some people thought, oh, is he saying that's in the game? Obviously not my intent. I changed the title of the video and made a pinned comment to make sure people weren't confused. But people were nice about it. They said, hey, that's not in the game. And then because they were nice about it, I was able to go in and I was receptive to that feedback, made the change I needed to. But obviously my intent was not to cause misinformation for people. So I think at the end of the day, if someone does make a mistake, I just wanted to say, try to be nice about the feedback, give the feedback, but be nice, because that's how we create an overall good atmosphere among content creators, among people joining in, because we're going to have a lot of new people joining in, making content. And we want that content because it makes the game bigger and then has a bigger audience. And scaring people away by being like, oh, you're stupid, why didn't you do your research, isn't going to help any of us at the end of the day. So I think watch someone's intent, give the feedback, but be nice about it. And I appreciate that people were nice with that feedback to me, because it helped me going forward understand how people receive my videos.
Good stuff. Thanks, Leaf.
I want to co-sign that, because like the constructive criticism on videos is like fantastic. As just speaking personally for a lot of my content too.
Okay. Good. Albert.
Hi. Yeah. A couple of things. In terms of the gaslighting, the big problem I think is often will be seen as just being either overly positive or overly negative. And even with CIG, I don't think they mind if we say things that are negative, as long as we're giving constructive criticism. They're not against constructive criticism, but they are against just piling on and saying this is crap. The other thing that we've got to remember is that we've got video, you know, if you've been doing this for a while, you've got videos that are 5-6 years old, and the game has changed. I can remember when Arena Commander was being billed as the test bed for X, Y, and Z. And CIG moved it because they were now doing the test bed for things in live. You almost see the theatres of where we saw an episode of theatres of where in the the Siege of Orison. That was effectively a theatres of war scenario. So the game development has changed and the way things are going has changed. And that also changes the way we report and the way we we are perceived by the audience. One of the things I find is really a huge benefit that we do on Infrarunners is if we're speculating, we never speculate in an echo chamber. There's always at least 2 or 3 of us. And we use that to kind of bounce the ideas and formulate our ideas. One of the series that we started doing was ship scrutiny. And the thing that X and I found is we went back and we'd go through every piece of information we could find on the ship we were looking at. And when we did this Crucible, it blew us away because there were so many things we had forgotten that CIG had said, and they'd said it in multiple, in several videos and that. So part of our obligation is not only to make sure our content is correct, but also sometimes we get held accountable for things that we said 5 years ago. Oh, but it's not like that anymore, or it's not like that. And we're saying it's a 5-year-old video, guys. So yeah, there's those elements that come into it as well. In terms of as content creators, we are sometimes held accountable and told we're wrong for something we said 5 years ago when it was right. So yeah. Anyway,
thank you, Alfred. Okay, we got everybody. Let me give my 2 cents on the last comment that I had, because it's actually a point of encouragement to all of you all. Thank you all for everything that you shared, first off. But there was a reason why I did pull the term gaslighting, and I'm glad that the definition was read where it talked about psychological manipulation. I think that I want to challenge this. This is just more of a introspective thing. Because I've read some comments on I've been on some shows recently and reading the comments of what some of the viewers think about content creators. I was amazed to read that people thought we had way more power than what like they think that we, how can I say this? People were leaving comments thinking that we are spoiled brats, that we have all this control, that we can do all these things, and we have some inroad with CIG that have us on the payroll. I mean, there's all these different things. I'm like, where's this stuff coming from? And
should give us priority on servers.
Is that that was another one, priority on the servers. I remember that one, right? That was funny that you wrote that up. But anyway, what I do want to say is, and I open this up by asking you, are you an entertainer, are you information, or are you opinion? That was the first thing. And everybody introduced themselves using those terms. And I think that someone mentioned this earlier, was talking about how the world has changed. I think it was Smithy Joe, you were talking about how information is coming to the world nowadays, and how people absorb information. And even though opinions, everyone has one, they ain't all valid. They're valid to the person, but when someone's wrong, they're just wrong. And I know when we do stuff on our show, I do my best to research as best I can the information that I have. There may be, to point execute, you said earlier, there's so much information, it's easy to miss something. To Joe Run's point, there may be one word you didn't see when you were doing your research that you put something out there and it's incorrect. And it wasn't intentional, right? It wasn't, you didn't try to maliciously tell bad information out there. But I do want to encourage you, everybody in this room, I think I've watched every one of you in this room that's here. The encouragement is that there are people who do listen to you. I don't care if you've got 10 viewers watching you or 1,000 viewers watching you at a given time. There are people who do pay attention to what you have to say, and it is valuable to this community. And I think that sometimes we can underestimate that people actually are watching us, especially someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Ariana was talking about during when COVID was going on. This was the source of people being able to deal with life. I mean, it's not that you asked for that responsibility, but it was a reality. And Star Citizen is important to a lot of people, not just because it's not because they got $10,000. They may have $20 in the game, but it's important to them. And you guys provide information, as you mentioned, Paul, that CIG doesn't have the time to do right now through marketing. You're the information source for those folk. And I think the reason why I said enlightening is because I think that everybody here is trying to pass on information to help people, whether it's they're just watching you play the game. Maybe you aren't even talking. Maybe just watching you fly around. Then again, maybe you're doing in-depth conversations like Paul does, where you sit down and you talk to people and bring people in and get their feelings and opinions. And I'm not invalidating opinions. What I am saying is I'm encouraging you to continue to be objective, to be critical, but to also be very much aware of the things that you say. Sark, when you put your videos together, keep putting them together with stuff that ain't necessarily in the game. That's okay, because we understand it, and the people who come in are going to get it, because what you're doing is saying this is the world from the information that you've been given that CIG is kind of going in the direction of, and we can take that. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. And I think that everybody here contributes in their own way. But I do want to say that what you guys do is important. That's my whole speech to you. What you do is great. There are people out there that respect you. There are people who, and I know it's not like you ask for all that responsibility to be on your shoulders because you're just trying to stream to have a good time. But I hate to tell you, you also are in an arena and you are in an industry and a market where, I'm sorry, they'll listen to you sometimes more than they will go read the newsletter that comes in their email. And that's the truth. So just be aware of that as you're presenting your information. That,
Games don't read.
Yeah, right. We don't. I mean, not to be funny, but I'll tell people in a minute. I'll turn board on in a minute because I don't feel like reading, because I know board will read it to me while I'm driving in the car. I'll do that. I will.
Oh, so X says it and everyone's okay with it. I say it, I get called toxic. Okay. That's just how this goes.
Because I'm more sexy, Paul. That's all right. It's so fine. It's the Aussie accent, man. I get away with murder.
Oh my God. Okay, so listen, we're gonna wrap this up. Fast Card, was anything you want to say? Because I don't leave out my buddy Fast Card here. He's been moderating and keeping an eye on things. So thank you, Fast Card, as always. He's been great doing that today.
Yeah, I think I got a the email address from Nazareth and Kitty. I don't think I have the email outside email address from the other winners so far. And people have been asking in Zoom chat with us whether or not we're going to have like a content creator only Discord. I think that's a good idea, but I'm not sure whether we'll organize it or like someone like Paul already have most of us on there, but I don't want to make him volunteer him or anything like that.
I do.
That is something we'll have to discuss.
Okay. I can turn the Captain's Table Discord into just a content creators Discord and let everyone go on it if you want me to. So
Organize it. Go for it, Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Interestingly,
I volunteer as moderator.
Dad Lando started a Discord for that many years ago. I think many of us are in that. It's been a little unused, but I don't know if y'all want to
whatever.
So this is something we can discuss offline. I just want to let people know, because I don't want people making a Discord server just for that when we really have the resource. That's
I mean, Paul does have the, like, not to be funny, but a lot of the invitations I pulled from Paul's channel because it was just easier to yank them from there. The ones that went through Discord. But Paul, if you are willing to have a channel that, even if it's just another channel that's there just for us to pop in and drop ideas or just communicate, that's fine. I do know you said Dad Lando has it, but if it's Dad Lando's, I'd want to get that from him, that it's cool to do that. But right now, Paul is active for most of the people in this room. So if he's willing to do it, I'd rather go that direction, Paul, if you don't have a problem with that.
Sure. I'll just change the Captain's Table thing a little bit. That's all.
Okay.
All right. That's all it is.
It's now turning into the round table.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
I think that's it for me. So thank everybody for coming and watching. We got 242 people watching in Twitch, so that's a lot. So I hope everybody had fun and enjoyed the summit.
Yeah,
thank you so much for putting it together.
You all.
And guys, me and CIG was aware. I didn't want to put it out there because I didn't want people to think, oh, I'm going to come because CIG is going to be there. This was just a busy weekend for them, and Zyril did respond several times about wanting to be able to stop in if possible. But like I said, Jawa, you mentioned that they're on the road right now. Most of the community people are out somewhere doing stuff. So this was just wasn't a good day for them.
Can I just insert real quickly? Jake, why are you working on your vacation? I know you're on vacation. Why are they settling you around?
Jake's got a hangover. I think he's happy. Yeah, Jake's got a hangover from last night. Jake's still got a hangover.
Yeah.
And so for those who are intending to join the round table at 10 o'clock or in 3 hours time,
Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys, thank you all again. For those of you who watched and tuned in, thank you. Those of you who streamed that are here who streamed, thank you guys for that. And we'll keep in touch with you guys. If we don't do anything before CitizenCon, let's put together a petition or something and say, hey, we'd love to have something for our content creators at CitizenCon. I think that would be great. Now, I'm definitely I love the idea about the press area. That is a definite. I think that is so cool to do. We're going to say FC.
Oh, I want to thank all the new followers and new first timers, chatters, and all the subscribers that we got during the summit. So
on our channel, I didn't even think about it. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you guys for those of you who were there. I was too busy watching this stuff. So
I know.
All right, so thank you guys again. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll be in touch. All right.
Take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
So,
thanks for everyone.
Take care, guys.
Hey, I love you.
very
Bye-bye.
much.
Been
Take care.
privileged.
Farewell. Goodbye.